Memphis, Tennessee. It is homecoming at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and the Memphis Tigers have won 10 in a row at home, trying to get back on the right track against the top 20 South Florida Bulls team that comes in rolling. Everybody in the conference chasing Navy, 4-0, best start since 1979, but the Bulls are right behind them at 3-0. ESPN College Football is presented by Tums.
You want to kick that way?
Near sellout crowd expected on this final Saturday of October here in Memphis. Matt Schumacher, the 9-year NFL vet. Sam Acho will be joined by Taylor Davis in just a moment. Acho, last week Memphis went to UAB, the favorite out of the group of 5 to make the CFP. Lost, and now this week it's USF who has won 4 in a row.
And they're playing great on both sides of the ball. Defense, one of the best in the nation, taking the ball away, but their quarterback, Byron Brown, has been outstanding. They scored 48 points last week. That brought their 4-game average down, and it's led by the guy who takes the snaps, Byron Brown.
Byron Brown playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Could he be a Heisman candidate?
If he keeps on playing like he has been, then he absolutely can. He's 6'3", 230, and he's playing with an extreme level of confidence. If a play is broken down, Byron Brown will fix it. He can do it with his arm, but also with his legs. And third down and short, third down and long. There's design quarterback draws, quarterback powers. He is a problem that's still waiting to be solved.
Well, he is top 10 in the nation in both scoring and yards per game. Quarterback, not a problem at South Florida, though it is a question for Memphis coming into this game. And for more, we send it to Taylor Davis with our sideline report brought to you by LinkedIn.
Yeah, Matt, starting quarterback Brendan Lewis suffered a lower body injury during that loss to UAB last week, was unable to return, but head coach Ryan Silverfield just confirmed to me pregame that he is going to be getting the start here today. I was watching him during pregame. He took all the reps with the ones. He looked comfortable, but he did not run much. If that ankle can't hold up, expect Arrington Maiden to come in first with A.J. Hill rotating in. You could see all 3 today, Matt, but they want everything they can get from Brendan Lewis.
Well, certainly him going down with injury last week was a big reason why Memphis was unable to mount the comeback against UAB. South Florida won the toss, elected to receive, and a fair catch into the back of the end zone will bring out Byron Brown, who has been arguably the best player in college football over the last 4 weeks. Acho, what he has put up statistically and what this offense has done, nothing short of spectacular.
Not just the last 4 weeks, really all season long. Start that game versus Boise where he's running over defenders. He's putting the team on his back. When we talked to Coach Golish, the head coach of USF, he said he's playing with a high level of confidence.
Nakai Davenport gets the start this afternoon at running back, one of their youngsters in the backfield, just a sophomore. And if you're unfamiliar with South Florida, they play at warp speed, top 15 in the nation in plays per game for the 3rd straight year under offensive coordinator Joel Gordon. Brown downfield after buying time, and it's in and out of the hands of Singleton. A near monster play on 2nd down.
Byron Brown has a threat of using his legs. All the linebackers are looking at him. Everyone's looking at him, but that leaves Singleton wide open in the backfield. That's a pass that he has to catch, but just keep an eye out as this game goes on. The threat of Byron Brown running could potentially leave guys open on the back end.
3rd downs were a problem for Memphis's defense last week at UAB. Blazers converted 9 times. 3rd and 7. And that is enough to move the chains for South Florida. Jonathan Eccles, one of their top 2 tight ends, with the catch. And a pre-snap penalty.
Prior to the snap, full start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
They got the left guard, Thomas Schrader, moving early.
And one thing that can slow down a warp speed offense are negative plays, whether tackles for loss or penalties, because you want to go so fast when you're in 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 20, you may not be able to get all of it back.
Brown on play action. It's intercepted. Picked off by the Tigers. Ball is out. And I believe South Florida is back on top of it. Ball was pinballing around at about the 30-yard line. And now they're going to say it's Memphis football. Everett Rousseau Jr. with the takeaway.
So there's so many eyes on the quarterback, Byron Brown. You're thinking that you're watching him, but they're also watching the football. Brown does not see Rousseau, and Rousseau saw the ball and got the first down. Now you saw the ball was trying to be punched out, and it's bouncing around. Moody Rubin punches it out, but it's still recovered by Memphis. So bad decision by quarterback Byron Brown, but that's the benefit of keeping a couple spies on the quarterback. They're seeing everything that he's doing.
Well, these two teams coming into the weekend, both top 10 in the nation in turnovers forced. And now Memphis with a real opportunity here, ball in plus territory to start. Lewis had that ball batted down. Pressure coming off the edge by Josh Seliscar as we look at today's impact players brought to you by Mattress Firm.
Well, two of them are going to see on offense in the backfield. Running back Sutton Smith, the converted wide receiver, 5'9", 185. He's small but mighty. Also Greg DeRosier, another running back who has great vision. The impact, you saw some of it already. The linebackers for USF, they are great football players that have great vision. So you saw Schuler and Harris are guys to keep an eye on.
Here's Sutton Smith on the pitch with blockers, and he's out across the 20-yard line, tackled by Tavin Ward.
So I love the block on the edge. You're not seeing the quarterback use his legs as much, but look at that block on the edge that has Sutton Smith get available. Christian Ross, the tight end, does a phenomenal job of sealing and securing the edge for Smith to get that get positive yardage.
3rd down and 1 for one of the best rushing offenses in the nation, averaging over 220 yards per game. Here's Pizant twisting up ahead. Pizant into the end zone for a touchdown. 19 yards.
Memphis is known for their backs, and Frank Pizant is the 3rd back really in this group, but every time their backs get a chance to touch the football, it seems as if they make people miss. You see that missed tackle by the linebacker, but Frank Pizant finds the end zone for the touchdown.
His 3rd rushing touchdown of the season, and the Tigers, after the interception on USF's opening drive, scoring points off turnovers.
Well, it started with the turnover by a top 10 team. Then not your first, not your second, but your 3rd running back, Frank Pizant, makes them miss and finds the end zone.
You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Just down the street from Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, Beale Street. We'll be jumping later on tonight if Memphis can upset South Florida. Currently ahead 7-zip after an interception turned into points for Ryan Silverfield's offense, which was stumped last week against the UAB defense, Sam Acho, that limped into that game. Great start for the Tigers this afternoon.
Matt, not the start that this USF offense was looking for, but a few weeks ago against North Texas, Byron Brown had 2 fumbles and an interception all in the first quarter. Alex Golish said he smiled at me and said, "I know, I'm fine." That's exactly what he just did down here on the sideline. Immediately rejoined the iPad, high-fived some guys. That composure is what they need from him on this drive.
As Alvon Isaac in the backfield now slots out wide. Makes one man miss. Now another, slipping out of the tackle by Sam Brumfield. You know, it's interesting. Taylor mentioned last night to Alex Golish the confidence of Byron Brown, and Alex Golish told Taylor
injured defensive player
2 years ago he wouldn't have had this type of confidence to rebound from a turnover like that.
And people think, Matt, that confidence is when things always go well. You really can show your confidence when things don't go your way. Taylor mentioned the North Texas game, 3 turnovers in the first quarter. There could have been a lot of doubt, but they ended up putting 60-plus points on North Texas. So situations like this, when you go through adversity or go through struggle, those are the times that you can show that you're confident. It starts with the belief from the head coach that gets it going.
Well, it's William Whitlow Jr., the lone returning starter on this Memphis defense, who is down, though getting up under his own power. That's a good sign for this defensive line that has relied so heavily on Whitlow this year.
Whitlow's one of the leaders. We talked with the coaching staff yesterday. They mentioned him as one of the leaders of the team.
Has led the Tigers defensive line in TFLs to this point in the year. We will continue to update you on his progress throughout the course of the game. 2nd and 3 here for the Bulls. First carry to Alvon Isaac. One of 3 backs that they will regularly rotate on this high-powered offense that has really yet to get going. Now in their 2nd drive against Memphis.
But they go quick oftentimes on 3rd and shorts. You see Byron Brown communicating. Usually they run an inside zone on plays like this.
He goes to the air and hits his freshman wide receiver Christian Neptune to move the chains.
Now was when that warp speed starts to come. The quarterback and receivers all look to the sideline, get the play, and they go.
South Florida again this weekend down their top wide receiver Chaz Nimrod, and so we're starting to see the emergence of more true freshmen on the outside.
Neptune is one of them. He's not the biggest guy, but he's made big plays in the game. And then Jeremiah Koger is another guy that's a big 6'2" receiver that has shown up as well as a true freshman.
And after that last run by Isaac, he was hobbly getting off the sideline. So now the Oklahoma transfer Sam Franklin into the backfield with Brown. Fake it to him. Brown, nobody open, and now checks it down to Jeremiah Koger, another one of those true freshmen who has really emerged with the absence of Chaz Nimrod.
Now these last few weeks for Koger have been huge. He stepped up with his opportunity.
3 straight games with a touchdown for the freshman. Here's Brown pulling it out on the QB keeper. Everett Rousseau, who had the interception on the opening drive with the tackle.
Notice the pace of the offense, but also notice the pace of the defense. The defense knows they got to get quick and ready early.
Brown again keeps. Lost his footing a little bit. How difficult is it to defend a tempo offense like this?
Well, it depends how you decide to defend it. If you say, hey, we're going to make a call and we're going to stick with our call, let them do all the motions and adjustment as quick as they want, then it's okay. But if you're guessing, it's hard.
To Franklin on 3rd and short. And he pushes ahead to continue the drive.
There was that inside zone we talked about. They usually go fast on 1st and 2nd, slow down on 3rd. If it's 3rd and short, they will go quick.
Pressure off the edge. Picked up by Franklin. Wide open is Koger. Inside the 10. Knocked out of bounds by Bracey.
Memphis decided to bring pressure. So how do you combat speed with pressure? They brought a corner blitz, but that corner vacated that part of the zone. And that's why Koger was so wide open, because Memphis brought a blitz that was caught.
South Florida's been so good in the red zone this year, scoring on 24 of 26 attempts. That got stacked up by Drew Watts, a veteran linebacker who transferred over from Nevada in the offseason.
Watts has made big plays for this Memphis defense all season long. And the Memphis linebackers are going to be a key for this defense because they're the ones that are having eyes on the quarterback. Start to slow down in the red zone because this is when points matter the most.
On 2nd and goal, Franklin churned forward for a gain of 3 yards or so. Brings up 3rd down. This is 4-down territory for USF.
I think it's so early to say that it's 4-down territory. I think it depends on how close you get. But if you don't get a 1st down, it's okay to kick a field goal here. I don't think you have to chase points this early in a game. Brown make adjustments. 3rd down, low red zone. These points matter the most.
Goal to go for the Bulls. Brown with a flag down will skirt into the end zone, but we'll see what the call is on the field. And it looks like it's going to be a hold on Memphis.
Holding. Defense number 1. That penalty is declined. Result is a touchdown.
So they got Amarion Cooper on the outside holding one of the wide receivers. And the run to the end zone puts USF a PAT from a tie game here in Memphis. Nico Gramatica, son of the All-Pro NFL kicker Martin Gramatica, knots it up at 7 apiece. What a response offensively by Byron Brown.
Byron Brown has grown in confidence, had an early interception, and now he sees Everett Rousseau, and Everett Rousseau thought what he saw was there, and he wasn't. Byron Brown found the end zone.
hockey, and college football is presented by Tums Fast Heartburn Relief, so you can love food back.
The famous Peabody Duck Walk, a ritual that began back in the 1930s, started with the hotel manager and his friends returning from a hunting trip, placing their live decoy ducks in the hotel fountain as a joke. The guests loved it. They decided to put some live ducks in there, and now they do it every day, twice a day, since the 1930s.
We were staying at the Peabody, and I was wondering why it was taking so long for the elevator to come down. Now I know.
Because they're the only show in town when it's duck walk time.
Quack, quack.
Matt Schumacher, Sam Acho, Taylor Davis with you. What a response offensively for South Florida after their first drive resulted in an interception. They come right back out after trailing 7-zip with a 12-play touchdown drive. We're tied at 7. Sutton Smith bobbled the fair catch, and he is ruled down.
And he'll have the ball right where he recovered it because he did not complete the fair catch. If he completed the fair catch, ball goes out to the 25-yard line. You don't complete the fair catch, then that ball is going to start right there at the 5-yard line where he recovered the ball.
The receiver gave a fair catch signal, however, did not complete the catch. By rule, the ball was placed at that recovery spot.
I like the decision of Smith to fair catch the ball. I have no issues with that, to put the fair catch signal, but you have to catch the ball. If you don't, that's going to be a big-time field position mistake, about 20 yards lost in field position. Now, Sutton Smith last week had a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown. He's still a weapon. Expect him to get more returns, but that was a critical mistake.
So this drive starts inside their own 5-yard line after their last one started at the plus 30. Greg DeWolsier Jr. wrapped up in the backfield.
So the tough part, Matt, about these running backs, this Memphis attack, is that they are so patient and they test your eyes and your discipline. They don't go fast too often, though they're speeding up now. So everyone on South Florida has to be disciplined.
Delayed pressure. Lewis backed up, tippy-toeing the back of the end zone, and got it out of play. First time we've had to see him use that mobility on the ankle that was injured last week against UAB.
Yeah, and he was very close to the back of the end zone. Looked like there might have been a hold as well in the back, but it's going to be interesting because Brandon Lewis is a dual threat quarterback, but with somewhat of a bum ankle, how much will his running attack be available for him today?
3rd and 12. Backed up inside his own end zone. Over the middle and almost intercepted. Jalen Schuler, one of the top tacklers in the American Conference, with the swat. And now Fred Gaskin, their very talented freshman safety, is down. Gaskin, one of the highest rated high school recruits ever in the history of this South Florida program, a top 25 safety coming out of high school. Down after it looked like he collided, Sam, with Schuler.
They're playing zone defense, so everyone on the defensive side of the ball for South Florida, their eyes are on the football. They're attacking the football. Jalen Schuler had that near interception, but there was somewhat of a collision that happened while the play was attempting to be made.
Well, a big stop for this South Florida defense. They got some help on the bobbled fair catch by Sutton Smith.
And both of these teams are attacking the football. They're top 10 in interceptions. Excuse me, top 10 in turnovers. Now you see Alex Golich, the head coach of South Florida, next to Gaskin.
looked like Schuler took a pretty big collision in that hit as well, but he walked off the field under his own power. Still, it's Fred Gaskin being tended to on the field for South Florida. And now he is being helped up to his feet. Walking off on his own, though, gingerly. That's a good sign for South Florida.
It is a good sign for South Florida. But also what's been impressive about this game with South Florida defensively is that they are #1 in the nation in turnovers forced per game. Nearly 3 turnovers forced per game. So as Gaskin is walking off, just keep an eye out on where the ball lands, whether it's punched out or intercepted as the game goes on.
Lachlan Kerrigan, end over end punt, short to Christian Neptune. And now South Florida will start in plus territory. Third drive of the game upcoming for this electric Bulls offense. As we take a look at the All-State playoff predictor. And remember, as we talked about last week, it was Memphis who came into the weekend at UAB with the best chance to make the CFP out of the non-Power 4. After that loss, it's now South Florida entering the weekend here in Memphis.
They have so many impressive wins. And remember, it's the 5 highest ranked conference champions that make the college football playoff. That 45% is extremely high. So South Florida's put themselves in a great position.
All kinds of misdirection. Brown keeps and lunges forward for a positive gain.
Guys, defensive end William Whitlow spent a lot of time in the tent. It took 2 teammates to get him there before he ultimately headed to the locker room. He was dealing with a knee injury. He was crying in very visible pain. We'll keep you updated on his status to return.
Low throw, incomplete, intended for Moody Rubin. Boy, that's a big loss, Taylor, for this Memphis defensive line that didn't return a single starter this year except Whitlow Jr.
And we talked with defensive coordinator Jordan Hankins. He said that, man, Whitlow was one of our leaders. He's one of the guys who gets us settled, especially coming off of a game in which they lost last week. So I'm keeping an eye out on who's going to step up defensively on that line for Memphis. Byron Brown has got it out with his hands a couple times with the throw, but he may keep it again.
Brown delivers incomplete. Well defended on the back end. He was looking for Jonathan Eccles, and it was the safety Jeremiah Jordan with the coverage.
That's the second drop that we've seen from a South Florida receiver. That ball was on the money. It should have been caught. Yes, there was great coverage, but when your quarterback's standing in the pocket and accepting pressure as blitzes are happening, you have to be able to make receptions like those in games like these.
Chase Leon on to punt it away. And a beautiful USF bounce inside the 10-yard line. And so for the second consecutive drive, Memphis will start inside their own 10. A 7-7 ball game in Memphis. 7-7 game between the Bulls and the Tigers as we go inside the kitchen for Sam's special sauce.
Well, we got to cook, but that special is not just for cooking, it's for special teams. You see right here, the ball's going to be down at the 7-yard line, but there's two guys behind Jair Murphy. So those two guys are Jaquan Smith, number 19, and 95 long snapper Garrett Cates. That ball could have been down at the 1-yard line, so maybe just 6 yards, but backed up, those yards matter.
Second straight drive from Memphis starting inside their own 10. First drive was after a botched kickoff return on a fair catch call by Sutton Smith. Still have not seen a completed pass yet today by their start quarterback Brendan Lewis.
The field position game matters in matchups like these where you have two top defenses, two high-powered offenses. Field position's everything.
Lewis, long throw. There's the first completed catch to Marcelo Bussey. Big stick-moving completion. And a gain of 19.
So Bussey's going to be on the edge and run a wheel route. That little pump fake by Lewis allowed the wheel route to be open. And so the defense is thinking that it's going to be a flat route, but it's not to the flat to the sideline. It's to the sideline and turns up. Great protection by the offensive line. Great decision by Lewis.
Showing his mobility and completes the pass underneath to his tight end Matt Adcock. There are a lot of question marks coming into this game, as Taylor Davis reported on in our open, about whether or not Brendan Lewis would be able to go. Did not practice at full strength this week. Looks pretty good so far on that ankle today.
If I'm South Florida defensively, I understand that Brendan Lewis is a weapon as a runner.
Timeout for injured defensive player.
But I still want him to prove it. So if I'm their defense, I'm going after the quarterback. I'm bringing 5, I'm bringing 6. I'm making him run the ball to see how effective he's going to be.
Meanwhile, that looks like it's Jalen Schuler, the star linebacker, down for South Florida. They just had Fred Gaskin re-enter the game at the start of this series. Remember, he was the safety that went out on the last defensive sequence.
See Alex Golesh, the head coach, again in black. One thing that in situations like these that impresses me is when the coach, the head coach, no matter who the player is, whether you're a star or the third string, is there with the player that he recruited, the guy who he's coaching.
And a 3-year starter at linebacker, guy who has been such an instrumental piece in the rebuild of this program. Under third-year head coach Alex Golesh, and of course,
after
one part of a great
review, the runner reached the line to gain for a first down.
linebacker tandem.
It will be first down, Memphis.
Mac Harris, Jalen Schuler, 2 stars in this league and best friends in the linebacker position.
They play like it. They play like stars, and they play like friends. And you're like, what do you mean play like friends? Well, they play off of each other at times. You see the defensive line just create havoc. But whether it's Harris or Schuler, both those guys, they celebrate with each other. They play off of each other. There's a high level of trust within that room. Defensive
coordinator Todd Orlando has said that they are attached at the hip. And it's good to see Schuler up and walking around. By the way, they reviewed that last play by Memphis and determined that the ball carrier reached the line to gain. So it's a first down for the Tigers, nearing the 40-yard line. Xavier Hamilton is now in for Jalen Schuler at linebacker. There's Sutton Smith. Boy, is he electric between the tackles.
Well, the problem for South Florida defensively is now you're playing with new guys. You're not playing with your starters. Versus a team that loves to run the football on the inside, it could pose a problem for South Florida because you're trying to figure out where's my run fit playing next to a guy I'm not used to.
False start. Offense number 52. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yakari Walker, the center, flinched before the snap. First offensive penalty of the day on Memphis. We expected the run game to be a big piece today for the Tigers, as it has been all season, particularly coming off the loss to UAB, in which they were held to a season low 119 on the ground. Lewis, ball has batted down at the 45. There was some contact there by Tavin Ward. And you hear some of the boos here in Memphis. No call.
And now we got a critical third down, 3rd and 6. They're getting up to the line quickly. I would still run into a situation like this.
South Florida calls their first charge time out of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
Well, timeout here before a big 3rd and 6. We check in with Zubin. Well, Zubin, that feels like a must-win game for both teams, as today does, Sam, for these two teams, Memphis and South Florida.
It's interesting to see Ole Miss scoring offensively after Lane Kiffin was talking about some of the the great preparation that Brent Venables does to know what offenses do.
That's a fun chess match. Brent Venables has an elite defense this year in Norman. 3rd and 6, the pressure comes. Lewis checks it down underneath, and it is blown up initially. And then Marcelo Bussey scored it out the side, but I'm not sure picked up any more yardage, and now a punt situation for the Tigers.
He may have gotten 1 yard. There was a great job in the backfield blocking, but the defense of South Florida, they call that leverage tackling. What that means is you know where your help is. So if you're on the outside, you know you have help inside. You try not to let the running back or the receiver out leverage you. There was a missed tackle, but everyone's sprinting to the football.
Freshman return man Christian Neptune back deep. And he will fair catch it at about his own 8-yard line. Boy, what a start it's been this year for the South Florida Bulls. 6-1. Of course, they began their year with a Week 1 victory against last year's college football playoff contender Boise State. Followed that up with a ranked win in the Swamp. Only team in the nation to play 3 straight non-conference top 25 games to start the year. That 3rd game, a loss to a top 5 Miami team. Since then, they've gone undefeated with video game-like numbers on offense.
They look good. They look good doing it. That early game versus Boise State was a statement win. Beating Florida was another impressive win. Sure, the Miami game did not look great, but since then they have looked the part both on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball.
Alvon Isaac, who limped off the field a couple of drives ago, back in at running back. Fake it to him, and underneath to Wyatt Sullivan. And a nice positive gain on 1st down.
So now you're going to see the official come and spot the ball. And then they're going to get right back to the line, not wasting a second.
2nd and 1. It goes to Alvon Isaac. And he shoots up the middle for a 1st down.
And the reason this pace is so effective is as a defense, you're trying to get a line. You're trying to figure out where's my receiver that I'm lining up off of, or where is the lineman looking at? Those are decisions that you have to make so much quicker when an offense.
Timeout for injured offensive player. The player presented as injured prior to the ball being set, ready for play. There'll be no timeout administered. 1st down.
That's the cost of an offense going so fast. You heard said the player was injured before the ball was spotted, so no timeout, but they did have to stop the game. So that's the only thing slowing down South Florida are some of these injuries.
Boy, and now for the 2nd time in this 1st quarter, Alvon Isaac has to limp off the field. Such an explosive running back and return man. And now it's Sam Franklin again. Left hip of Brown.
And if I'm Memphis, Matt, I'm looking to the sideline just as quickly as they're looking to the sideline. I'm getting my call. I'm not trying to adapt or adjust to their formation. I'm going to play base coverage and go from there.
Brown evading one tackle. Now using his legs, is wrapped up out across the 32 by Jaden Flaker. That is the chess match in this game between Joel Gordon, the offensive coordinator of South Florida, Jordan Hankins, the defensive coordinator of Memphis. The pace of play and making sure both units are ready to go.
As much as the pace of play matters, critical downs like these are different. Third down is different for South Florida. They're not going to go as fast, so you have more time on defense to adjust.
3rd and 4. Brown felt the heat, connects with Christian Neptune, and a little wiggle gets him out near midfield. Gain of 16 to extend the drive.
True freshman who's 5'11", 189, excuse me, and he does have that juice. He's not a big, tall receiver, but he has that elusiveness that shows up on tape.
Brown with all day to throw. Surveying. And now hits a man on a comebacker. It's Neptune again.
See, that's the issue with spying a quarterback. You don't want to blitz him, so you're just going to watch and wait. But he was back there for, it felt like an eternity, 7, 8, 9 seconds. So a 3-man rush can be positive, but the problem is a quarterback like Brown will take as much time as he needs, especially with an offensive line that does a really good job protecting him.
Quarterback power. Brown has this ability too. Shakes past one, hurdles another. There goes Brown. 44 yards to the house. Touchdown, Bulls.
Triangle, circle, square, R1, turbo, you pick it. That's what Byron Brown is. He's a video game. You said video game numbers. He's an actual video game. Watch him right here. He accelerates, and then he almost spins. He hurdles over somebody. Then he almost does a stiff arm. Byron Brown does things that most mortals cannot.
He is the engine of this offense. Top 10 nationally, Sam, in both scoring and yards per game.
It doesn't matter who the competition is. If it's a team like Boise State, a team like Florida in the SEC, a team here that you're playing in Memphis that had won 10 straight games before last week, Byron Brown is playing on a new level. He's playing with confidence. He's experienced adversity, and he's showing up and showing out.
It's a young man, too, that had such a devastating end to last season. Got South Florida off to a really nice start, challenged Alabama on the road. Then week 5, they go to Tulane. He suffers a season-ending leg injury, and their season really just didn't accelerate past that point. But the coaches felt like there was some silver lining to that injury for him in the way that his mental processing of the game was able to take an uptick.
Well, he took an uptick. He went from the field and from the sideline to go start watching games up in the booth with his coaches and with the coordinators, seeing the game from a different perspective. They talked about the growth that Brown experienced.
There's a mistake on the kickoff. Out of bounds, and so great starting field position for the Tigers.
Ball's going to be up to the 35-yard line now. So you saw that big time
kick out
negative.
of bounds on the kicking team. Memphis has elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line. First down.
You saw the big time negative earlier, getting the ball inside the 5 on a kickoff. Now is a big time positive. Mistake by South Florida, and Memphis has so much better field position. You get 2 first downs, you're in field goal range. So special teams matter so much in the, people call it the minutia of football. But with tightly matched games like these and teams like these, field position's everything.
Good news for South Florida. Jalen Schuler back into the game at linebacker. There's Sutton Smith, and he is stacked up by Mac Harris. No gain.
And South Florida on defense, what they will present at times is challenging because they'll have 3 guys at the line of scrimmage, 3 defensive linemen, but then 8 DBs, linebackers, just standing around watching. So you don't know if they're going to be in a 3-down look where they blitz, or they're going to drop into coverage, or they're going to be all up at the line and then drop out. They present so many challenges for offenses.
Pressure gets to Lewis, and the ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Jarvis Lee Jr. from the nickel spot.
That's one of those challenges. So as an offensive line, you're trying to identify who do I block. But when there's 5 offensive linemen but 7 guys in front of you, you don't know who's going to blitz. So you have to sometimes just, people call it like sift or sort and say, okay, I'm going to block whoever comes to me. But they do a great job of bluffing, faking a blitz, and then going.
3rd and 10. Lewis is taken down in the backfield. It's Lee another time. But this time he gets the sack and a loss of 9.
Confusion can create chaos, and Jarvis Lee is on the edge and is completely unblocked. You would think that DeRosier would be able to block him, the running back for Memphis, but he's on the exact opposite side of the line of scrimmage. So great job identifying where to blitz from a defensive perspective. But offensively, Memphis has to make better decisions on who's blitzing and maybe even adding more people into the protection.
End of the first quarter, an exciting one. South Florida trailed 7-zip after an interception and an ensuing touchdown drive by Memphis, but it's been 14 unanswered by South Florida.
back in Memphis. USF leading 14-7. Alex Golish is with me now. Coach, I just saw you get fired up after that sack. What'd you like about the first quarter?
Just kept coming back. Just keep swinging, keep swinging, keep swinging. You know, we give up the touchdown there to start, and they just reset, kept playing. Same thing offensively. Go punt it, go 3 and out, and then just reset. It's a resilient group. It's obviously going to be a long game, but I love the energy that we're playing with right now.
Awesome. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
You know, it's so interesting he brings up resilience with this group. They are old, Sam, in a lot of positions. Many returning players, even some who were here before Alex got here 3 years ago.
They're experienced group, but then a group that's been through adversity and a group that struggled a couple seasons ago, even last year where there was so much excitement before Byron Brown's injury. Byron Brown goes down, the season goes down, for lack of better terms, with him. But they've experienced adversity, and it seems as if they're able to match it and overcome it.
31 seniors on the Bulls roster this year. Here's a jet sweep to Christian Neptune with a seam. And Neptune downed after a gain of 15 by Chris Bracey.
And as a defense, it's hard because they're so fast.
That time Davenport stacked up, spun out of a tackle. Everett Rousseau was there to clean it up.
But what makes it easy, Matt, is that you get them going backwards. You want them to slow down, you create negative plays, you create false starts, you create tackles for loss. Now all of a sudden it makes them second guess how fast they want to go.
Loss of 5 on the play. Fake it to Neptune. Brown with nothing but green on that sideline. And high steps out of bounds. Out past midfield.
You know, some people, they think they have the angle. Byron Brown eats up angles. Like, that's the, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, I got to tackle. No, you don't. I remember going against RG3 and thinking, oh, I'm going to tackle him in college. And it's like, no, he won a Heisman. He's got another gear to him. That's what makes him different. And so Memphis defensively everyone has to attack the football.
Has time. Now flushed. Tried to sneak it underneath to Jonathan Eccles. They're going to say incomplete. Mac Harris, no, check that. It was Kamari Wilson on the coverage for Memphis.
That's the second piece that Memphis has an opportunity to do, is not only attack the football, but also bring hats to the football, but also when that ball is in the air, take it away. That's got to be the mentality. They're a top 10 team in takeaways, so they had an early interception. They're going to try to get another one.
Option on 2nd and 10, and that is eaten up in the backfield by Chris Bracey. The UAB transfer came flying in like a missile, and it brings up 3rd and long with a tight end down for South Florida.
Offensive player.
It is Jonathan Eccles.
Chris Bracey, one of the safeties for this team, is a leader and a playmaker. Watch him. He's on the opposite side of the field, and he's a quarterback player, so his job is on that option to go take the quarterback. He doesn't guess. He doesn't hesitate. He goes immediately. He had a huge play in the Arkansas game, a forced fumble that helped them win that game. He is a big-time player.
Well, the interesting backstory behind that great game he had at Arkansas, against Arkansas, just 2 weeks prior, he lost his starting spot. And the defensive coordinator, Jordan Hankins, told us that he's sort of in and out of the lineup week 3. Then week 4 got more action against Arkansas and just completely balled out. He was the defensive player of the week in the American after that win against the Hogs.
He took over. Arkansas had a chance to win the game. They were up by 1 point. There was about a minute left. They ran the ball down to about the 10-yard line. And then a little bit before that, Memphis called timeout. And I've been in defensive positions where you have to get the ball away. Memphis had no more. That was their last timeout. They had to go and take the ball away. I don't know what conversation was had, but all I know is at the very next play, Chris Bracey punched the ball out on a run and got Memphis the ball back. So sometimes you think, oh, man, how do we win this game? Who's going to make the play? He's like, dude, I will make the play. And when you see stuff like that, it gets you excited as a coach and even as a teammate.
Jonathan Eccles jogging off. And now 3rd and 13 after Bracy made that excellent play in the backfield from the safety position for Memphis.
One thing I've been impressed by on Memphis defensively is how many negative plays they're forcing on South Florida. Now it's 3rd and 13. I still think you bring pressure. I don't think you should sit back and try to spy. Try to bring pressure on Byron Brown, make him make a quick decision.
Instead, they drop 8. Quick throw. Goes out to Moody Rubin. And that will bring up 4th down.
Now keep the offense out, not go for it. You're kind of in that fringe field goal range. I go for it on this one.
No hesitation from Alex Golish. They've been so good on conversion downs this year. 70% on 4th. Need 3 to extend the drive. Long throw and back shoulder incomplete to Jeremiah Coger, who it didn't quite look like was on the same page as Byron Brown.
That's one of the doubts when you're a true freshman in Jeremiah Coger. Byron Brown and Coger have to get on the same page in order to convert in situations like that.
South Florida Bulls at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. They have scored the last 2 touchdowns of this game, and there is the Taco Bell Live Ma student section. Only one student section can claim the title of Live Ma student section of the year. Who will take home the trophy this season? After the 4th down stop by Memphis's defense, great starting field position for the Tigers. Brendan Lewis, their star quarterback. After the injury last week, a duck that might have been batted down at the offensive line by Jalen Schuler.
That's the second ball that we've seen batted down at the line of scrimmage for South Florida. You see Brendan Lewis's is looking and trying to see, and then Jalen Shuler gets his hand up and bats that down.
There's a nice completion out wide, just the 4th of the game by Brennan Lewis, and that moves the chains.
Sometimes you just need to see that ball get completed to build confidence in yourself as well. This is not the same Brennan Lewis that we've seen all season. The same Brennan Lewis we've seen all season has been able to run the ball, but now he seems like he's more stagnant in the pocket.
First catch of the game by his leading wide receiver, Cortez Graham Jr. And that run goes nowhere to Greg Duosier. So you're seeing something different from Brennan Lewis in terms of his mobility in the pocket.
Absolutely. He's a dual threat quarterback, and he's got some savvy to him as a runner, but he's also got a lot of strength when he runs the football. We haven't seen any of that yet so far. So South Florida may see the same thing and say, hey, let's go after him. We've seen so much more blitz from South Florida, and maybe it's because of hobbled quarterback in Lewis.
Check down to Duosier. Cannot get outside of the tackle of Jonas DeClona. And for more on Lewis, here's TD.
Yeah, Sam, it's a great assessment about Brendan Lewis's difference, kind of how he's operating the pocket right now. I was watching him pregame. He was very accurate, looked comfortable, but he wasn't running from drill to drill. He was jogging kind of gingerly, and that's a huge piece of his game and how the offense operates. So definitely a little bit different. I agree with you.
Free play, and they're going to blow it dead. That's a great point, Taylor, because look at what he's done over the last 2 years on the ground.
Offside, unabated to the quarterback, defense, number 34. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
One of the highest rushing quarterbacks in the country last year at Nevada, ran for over 750 yards. This year, a key piece to a top 15 rushing attack in the country at Memphis.
It makes it so hard as a defense because you have to add an 11th person to defend. Of course, offense has 11, but quarterback usually they're sitting back there throwing it. Brendan Lewis is a strong and savvy runner. That's a huge part of his game. That's what makes him him. But if you don't have to defend that part of the game, it makes it easier on a defense.
Duosier spun out of one tackle and then was wrapped up after a nominal gain by Fred Gaskin, and 3rd down looming.
So Gaskin's back healthy in the game, and
I'll check that. They just switched it to 4th down, and now Memphis is going to go for it in plus territory. And South Florida is pointing to movement up front on the Memphis side.
it's like they're discussing to see if it's going to be false start on offense, or was the defense giving some types of disconcerting signals to see which way this will go when 5 yards for offense equals 1st down.
Full start. Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Rare penalty on their veteran left tackle by Chris Adams.
Well, he's a veteran. He's a very intelligent player. You're going to see Chris Adams, the left tackle. There's a little bit of a subtle movement, and that movement is what caused a penalty. So it went from a situation where it may have just been a hard count, and maybe they would have gone for it, to now it's special teams, punt team is out there, potentially punt it or fake it. There have been some fakes in this team.
Kerrigan will, in fact, boot it away. Christian Neptune calling for everyone to get away from the football. The 4th straight punt by Memphis after their opening touchdown. South Florida trying to extend the lead when we come back.
as it gets if you're a college football fan.
Is it a Theismann type of season for Ty Simpson? Boy, those numbers certainly indicate it could be trending that way. Sam Acho, what say you?
Well, he's done it the last 4 weeks against 4 ranked SEC opponents. So right now, Ty Simpson is my favorite for the Heisman. He's done it at a consistent level, putting up the numbers, but also done it against the best competition.
4 straight wins for the first time since 2016 for Alabama. His dad, Jason Simpson, still the head coach at UT Martin, where Jordan Hankins played and got his coaching start under Ty Simpson's father. On first down, a catch. And a nominal gain for Christian Neptune.
Hankins spent 3 years there as a defensive coordinator after being a strength coach for many years before that.
Brown could not wiggle free from Sam Brumfield. An excellent transfer linebacker.
See them starting to slow down to try and get a better feel and look for what Memphis is in defensively. Now Memphis, now you know it's 3rd and 8. You feel like it's going to be a pass. Do you spy or do you blitz? Looks like they're bringing pressure.
Play clock under 5. They do bring pressure. Brown is taken down in the backfield. First sack of the game for the Tigers. And it's Sam Brumfield.
And Brumfield, who started his career at Middle Tennessee, and now he's in Memphis. Watch him in the middle. Watch this delayed blitz. He's going to wait and wait and wait. People are going to cross in front of him. That patience is integral to this play's success. If Brumfield would have rushed early, like been fast, the offensive line would have seen him. But you have to be extremely patient. That's the experience that shows up for this veteran of this defense.
A shanked punt by Chase Leon. And great starting field position again for Memphis. Well, let's take a look at today's More Than a Home team, brought to you by Cracker Barrel. Memphis, not just a great football school, but a terrific basketball program under Penny Hardaway, the defending American champs. Penny Hardaway getting set to start his 8th season as the Memphis head coach. And they have a monster game early in the year. Week 1, they will go to Ole Miss on November 11th.
I remember Penny Hardaway back in the day. I think him and Shaq had a little bit of time together with the Magic. Imagine if they could have stayed together, Shaq with the Magic.
What could have been?
What could have been?
Lewis, first rushing attempt of the day. And a flag is down in the backfield after the tackle by Mac Harris. And now more flags coming in with some of the extracurriculars.
There's 2 flags, and one of them seemed to be during the play, but the second flag seemed to be a post-play flag. That means both of them should.
There are fouls by both teams on the play, and both will be enforced. Holding, offense number 52, 10-yard penalty. After the play, dead ball foul, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 15. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So a net of 5 positive yards for Memphis and a first down.
So the holding is enforced, that's during the play, but this post-play penalty is enforced as well. Right there, you're going to see Denard Flowers with a trip or kick or something extracurricular and unnecessary. Sometimes you get put on your back, you're like, you know what, get off of me. And that's what happened.
No, you would never.
No, I would actually. I do a lot.
Matt Schumacher, 9-year NFL vet. Sam Acho, Taylor Davis on the sideline. Here's Lewis taking a shot, looking for Graham. Made the catch, but was he in bounds? No. He was arguing that he was forced out by Jonas DeClona, but it stands incomplete.
It's a good job of locating the ball by Graham. See him extend the arm, but unfortunately he doesn't. For him, he doesn't get that foot in bounds. Great coverage on the defensive side of the ball.
Still just one catch for Graham in this first half. Their leading wide receiver and one of the tops in the American Conference.
Well, the reason the passing game hasn't been as effective is because the running game hasn't been effective, and the quarterback run hasn't been effective. That's a part of the whole equation. So yes, South Florida, give them credit, but also Memphis has struggled with their run game with the quarterback and in the backfield.
Fake the run. Lewis to the end zone, and it is incomplete. Looking, I believe, for Brady Clues.
And just going back to that point, you don't have to commit as many resources to the run if you know that part of the offense, part of the quarterback run game isn't going to be as big of a factor. Yeah, that early touchdown, we see it. There was a forced fumble, interception, and then fumble, then recovered a fumble, touchdown. But since then, South Florida has owned the defensive side of the ball.
And we talk so much about South Florida's offense. They came into the day with a top 30 rush defense in the nation as well. That has been on full display. Just 27 net yards on the ground for the Tigers. Lewis pushed back, forced an errant throw, and put on his backside by the transfer Trayvon Mitchell, who was a Division II star in West Florida a year ago.
We talk a lot about Byron Brown. We need to start talking more about this South Florida defense. Watch them just run over the interior offensive line, number one. Number two, you talked about it. Yeah, top 15 defense, but they're number one in takeaways per game. They're top 10. Both teams are top 10 in takeaways per game, and they're also huge when it comes to tackles for loss. And so the complementary football for South Florida is what gives them advantages.
Neptune waving for the fair catch, receives it at about his own 8-yard line. We've had a lot of punts since the opening couple of drives. South Florida trying to flip that trend. sounds like an offensive slugfest between Oklahoma and Ole Miss. Thank you for the update, Zubin. Here's Byron Brown trying to sift through tacklers. Really got nothing going. And both offenses, Sam Acho, have stalled really since those opening few drives.
But there's one difference maker, man. That quarterback, number 17, Byron Brown, he's been the difference so far in this game. We saw in that last play, Chris Bracey, the safety, he blitzed. He essentially was in the backfield. I wonder if they're going to bring him more.
Brumfield, he was picked up. Pass is caught by Wyatt Sullivan for a gain of 10. Third and 2.
We've seen a quick run on a situation like this and a pass to the flat. I expect a run.
Instead of quick throw, it is caught by Mudia Rubin. Is it enough to move the chains?
It looks like it is. So there it is. So they've shown on tape before inside zone, but now they're saying, man, we're going to get the ball out to the edge. And Rubin does a great job of finding it.
Right back out to Rubin. Graduated Stanford in 3 years. Missed most of last season with a foot injury. And has come into his own middle of his first season in South Florida.
I got to stop. You can't just say graduated Stanford in 3 years and just brush by it. Graduated Stanford in 3 years? Come on. It's a big deal.
It's impressive.
I went to Texas. Now, I was in the honors program, but I tried to, you know what I mean? It ain't Stanford. We try and go somewhere.
Hey, you were no slouch academically either. I've seen your award list. Here's Davenport up the middle. Now he's in a foot race. Davenport is brought down in the 15 by Chris Bracey after a gain of 57.
You put so much focus on the quarterback, and then all of a sudden, you're a step late, you're a step slow. Drew Lewis, number 7, his eyes are on the QB, and instead of being on the QB, instead of being in his gap, he's a step slow, and that's all you need for this offense.
Right back to Davenport up the middle, and he's crunched at the 5. One of 2 underclassmen regularly getting snaps at running back. Alex Golesh told us they feel like he is the most complete back in that room. End zone on 2nd and goal, incomplete. They were looking for Mudia Rubin. And Jeremiah Jordan with the coverage.
Critical situation for Memphis defensively. You just gave up a big play, but now you're in a position like you were in that Arkansas game to try to force a turnover or keep this potential 7 points, keep it down to 3. Defensively, the mindset is turnover first, but then you want to keep them out of the end zone.
Play clock under 5. Brown, end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. Jeremiah Coger with a touchdown in now 4 consecutive games. And it's a 2-score lead for the Bulls on the road.
Look at the smile from Byron Brown. He's making so many good decisions. You see true freshman Jeremiah Coger is on the receiving end of that play. There were spies again on the quarterback, and Byron Brown just keeps on showing his growth right before our eyes.
Nico Gramatica makes it 21-7. 3 unanswered touchdowns by South Florida.
And a 3-man rush, and you're going to see just eyes around the QB, and Byron Brown takes his time. He's patient. Everyone's watching, and then there was a defensive tackle, number 93, Jalen Bell. He actually dropped back into coverage. That ball went right over his head. If he would have been a linebacker or maybe even a DB that's used to balls flying left and right, he may have been able to tip it, but Brown, with the speed, the velocity of that football, whipped it right past him.
Well, for 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you, Allstate. So much for stalled offenses, huh? Another 92-yard touchdown drive, the second of the day for South Florida. And now how does Memphis respond? This feels eerily similar to last week, where their offense just never really felt like they were in rhythm against UAB.
One way to respond is how they did last week. If they get an opportunity for a kick return or a special teams play, score on special teams. That's what we saw last week versus UAB early in the game. Another way is bust a big play. This Memphis offense is a big play offense. Usually you see running backs like Sutton Smith bust 50, 60-yard gains. They haven't done it just yet, but all you need is one of those to get this game back in rhythm.
Smith set in motion. Here he is on the handoff. Slips past two tacklers. There's an explosive run by Sutton Smith. Picks up 13.
He's a complete back. That's one thing I noticed about Sutton Smith. Yes, he's a willing blocker, not the biggest guy, 5'9", 185, but he's very savvy when he runs the football. The first guy is not going to bring him down.
Clean pocket for Lewis. Back shoulder throw to Graham. Boy, lots of contact, and now the flag comes in. James Chenault likely going to be whistled for the infraction here.
Pass interference. Defense number 9. Squad foul. Automatic first down.
Cortez Graham is going to be on the receiving end of this. That's a back shoulder fade. And Chenault, he doesn't know how to handle himself in that position. He's beat, and so when he gets beat, he holds, and there's the penalty. You got to attack downfield more if you're Brendan Lewis.
Smith gains 4 or 5 on first down. And some more extracurriculars out near the 35-yard line. Such a meaningful game for both teams. One-loss clubs with serious CFP aspirations. Memphis trying to get back to the American Conference Championship game for the first time since 2019. They've had back-to-back 10-win seasons that have stalled late in the year. Here's Sutton Smith near the line to gain. Taylor.
Well, guys, being back on the field means so much to Sutton Smith. It was the season opener last year that he tore his ACL. He told me this week with the question marks at quarterback, he was taking ownership of this game.
Well, he is crunched in the backfield by Jarvis Lee Jr. Taylor. And now decision time if you're Silverfield.
I don't think it's a decision. You go. You don't have to decide. You know what you're doing. You're in plus territory. You're down by 2 scores. You believe in your running game. This is a situation, I think, where you absolutely go for it. Sure, you do hard counts, but you got to go for it in a situation like this.
4th and 2. Quick snap. Lewis. Does he have enough? Looks like it based on the spot, and they will move the chains.
It's a brave play by quarterback Brendan Lewis. He gets outside of the pocket and knows that a decision has to be made. He can't throw it, would be incomplete, so he accepts contact and gets the first down.
Will they snap it before the 2-minute timeout? Unlikely. So Memphis converts on 4th down, trying to score since their opening offensive drive of the game. Well, Memphis extends the drive here. Zubin with a 4th down conversion. Sutton Smith couldn't slip past Trayvon Mitchell. All 3 timeouts for the Tigers. They do get the ball to start the second half. Sam looking for their first score since the opening drive of the game. 5 straight punts since then for the Tigers.
Double pass.
Kluse back to Lewis with blockers. Lewis brought down inside the 25. 20-yard gain. And now nearing the red zone with a South Florida player down.
So Memphis attempted a pass like this in the game versus Arkansas. They attempted a pass like that in the game versus Arkansas early in the game that was incomplete. When the game is on the line, Memphis is going to try and take a risk. It was a double pass. And this time, last time they had the quarterback, Brandon Lewis, try to run down the field.
Timeout for injured defensive player.
And it was
The
incomplete.
game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1:27. 1:27, please.
This time they do the double pass, but they throw it back to the quarterback. What that tells me is that Memphis understands the magnitude of the moment. So it looks like they're going to be taking a few more risks. Now just looking forward to Merrifield. Last week, I believe it was, he went down and was able to come back. I know, Matt, you were there.
Yeah, he's a guy that last year missed 5 games at FAU with a knee injury. He's a guy that just has been trying to overcome injuries. A 2-time captain with the Owls. And one of their 5 transfers on the defensive line that Todd Orlando told us they all hit on. Our chat with him yesterday, he said, you know, sometimes when you take 5 or 6 guys in one position group out of the portal, you hit on 1 or 2. They felt like they got it right on all 5 on the defensive line. Merrifield, one of those.
Guys, this USF offense has also been full throttle in second halves this season. They outscored FAU 27-7 last week. So definitely a point of emphasis for this Memphis offense down here on the sideline to take risks and really close the half strong. Looks like we saw that on that last play.
Interesting little chess match too, Taylor, between Memphis offensive coordinator Tim Cramsey and South Florida defensive coordinator Todd Orlando as Merrifield's up under his own power. The two were coordinators together at Florida International back in 2012. And Alex Golish loves the booze coming down here at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium.
We got a chance to chat with Golish yesterday, and there is a sense of calm about him. I understand the chaos, even with some of the players going down. This is the 3rd time we've seen him on the field with his players, but there's a sense of calm confidence, and that feels like it permeates to and through his team.
1:24 to go in the first half. Lewis didn't see it coming. Mac Harris. No, Rico Watson with the sack, and a flag late.
So Rico Watson, Mac Harris was a part of that action. He was the inside blitzer. Rico Watson was the outside blitzer, and that action, it caused the right tackle to hesitate.
The flag was thrown for potential targeting on the play. However, replay has confirmed that there is no targeting on the play. It's 2nd down.
So there was 2 players brought off the edge, and to me that looked like a clean tackle. There were 2 players brought off the edge.
Takes their first charge time out of the
Rico
half.
Watson and then Mac Harris. The right tackle is looking at Harris because he's the closer threat. So quarterback Brendan Lewis has to.
The game clock to 1:17. 1:17, please.
Brendan Lewis has to know that you have somebody who's blitzing hot and get rid of the ball.
Your composure today has been excellent. With the amount of times our officiating crew has come onto the PA this afternoon. So Memphis burns a timeout. 1:17 to go in the first half. 2nd and 18 as we take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Prudential. Indiana having no problems right now with UCLA.
And Ole Miss ain't having too many problems with Oklahoma. That's a big-time matchup. There was this, talk about chess match. Lane Kiffin, offensive mastermind. Brent Venables, defensive mastermind. They were sparring in the media. Lane Kiffin was saying that Oklahoma, they do a great job of studying people's signals, if you will, and they're called. And looks like the change in the calls has worked for Ole Miss.
Both teams enter that game with one loss. Feels almost like a playoff eliminator. Nice throw over the middle to Brady Cluse. Picks up 13. Makes it 3rd and 5. Memphis going hurry up here. Cluse trying to get free. Could not. Ryan Silverfield wanted a flag, and he will get it. And is it James Chenault again, who had a pass interference earlier in this half on Cortez Braham?
Holding. Defense number 9. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
So you know how you go to homecoming and things like that, and they got like, it was a homecoming here in Memphis. Even in high school, they got these dances. That was like he was dancing. James Chenault, he got his hand on the hip. It was like, dude, may I ask you out to a dance? I'm like, this is a little bit too clear and a little bit too obvious. You see it right there, that hand on the hip. He's just pulling the tight end, and clear and obvious penalty.
Goal to go from inside the 10. On the ground to Osier. Picks up about 4. And now Memphis will burn their second timeout.
So Memphis takes their second charge time out of the half. This is the 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 53 seconds. 5-3, please.
I'm going to go back but look forward a little bit. Last week, Memphis, they were down in the end zone, getting ready to score to try to tie the game, and they had 2 massive mistakes in the red zone. They had a false start from the 1-yard line, then another false start. They ended up not scoring and losing to UAB. The clock was running. They were allowing the clock to run so that they could, run out the clock. But instead, this time, they're calling a timeout and making sure everyone is composed. The reason that matters is that if Memphis scores here, Matt, you said it, Memphis gets the ball out of halftime. So you score, now all of a sudden it's a 1-score game. You score again, now all of a sudden it's a whole new ball game. So I love the timeout by Ryan Silverfield to just make sure everyone understands the magnitude of the moment.
Quick throw. Graham with blockers into the end zone for a touchdown. Excellent execution on an 11-play drive for the Tigers, who absolutely needed a score on this last drive of the first half.
What do you do when you need points? You call your best play and you throw it to your best player, at least when it comes to receivers. Cortez Braham has been the best receiver on this Memphis team. So call your best play, dial it up, get the points that you need when it matters the most.
His 6th receiving touchdown of the season. Spedick puts it down the middle and makes it a 1-score game again in Memphis. Well, tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, before Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers face the Packers, what the reunion means for Rodgers and Green Bay. Plus, live coverage from Philly before the Giants-Eagles NFC East showdown, and Randy's best catches from the week in You Got Mossed. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 Eastern on ESPN. Sam Acho, you never got mossed, did you?
Nah, I got mossed a couple times. I mean, I'm trying to think if I even played against Randy Moss. I think I missed him by a couple years, but I got a chance to meet Randy Moss, so I guess I didn't play against him. But I met him in the airport one time outside leaving Bristol and ESPN, and I'm like, dude, you're like one of the coolest guys. And now even thinking what he's been through with some of his health stuff, yeah, he was a problem back in the day, man. Just throw that hand up in the air and you know what's going down.
And now his last name has become a verb that every generation knows. whether you saw him play in the NFL or not. As we've talked so much throughout the course of the day, this game means so much, not just in this conference, but nationally with college football playoff implications. Right now, South Florida, best chance to win the American per ESPN Analytics. Also the best chance out of the group of 5 to make the college football playoff. North Texas, however, making waves last night, rebounding from their loss to South Florida, and the stardom story of Drew Mestemaker continuing to be written in Denton. 2 timeouts left for South Florida. Long throw is caught by Keyshawn Singleton. Don't put it out of this offense's possibility to score a touchdown here.
We change it to probability. This offense, this is where they live. They live in, hey, we only need about 7 seconds to run a play.
Underneath route was chopped down by Bracey, who's had an excellent first half in the secondary for Memphis.
We talk a lot about the doubling up or the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 of the second half. But one way to erase all of that is for USF to go and score here. Even if it's 3 points, it's a field goal. It can suck all the momentum that Memphis thought they had going into halftime.
Of one of the elite weapons in the kicking game in this country, with Nico Gramatica as their kicker. Some extra yardage there by Sam Franklin. 3rd down and a timeout taken by South Florida.
Talk about a last name, man. I remember watching
South Florida takes their 2nd charge timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
I remember watching the Gramatica's kick when I was a little kid. You know, Martin Gramatica, you know, Tampa Bay and all these things. And now all of a sudden, that legacy is being continued, and he's holding up to it. Had a 52-yarder as a long, but Alex Golesh said he's comfortable at end of half, end of game with a 55, 56-yarder.
His career long is 58. It was his first field goal attempt in college last year. 2nd longest in program history behind his Uncle Bill.
Let's go. So if you're on defense for Memphis, you're not fully thinking, okay, I got to know I'm protecting the 40-yard line, but you do know that you're protecting about 20 or so yards. This, first and foremost, it's 3rd down. You have to try and get off the field. But if they get a 1st down, Memphis has to think, hey, we're not protecting the end zone. I'm trying to protect a field goal.
South Florida has converted 7 3rd downs in the game.
They're changing the call on defense.
Bring 3. Brown delivers to Singleton to extend the drive, and now they are nearing field goal range already. For Nico Gramatica, hanging on to that last timeout. Brown flushed and smartly floats it out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 17 seconds remaining in the opening half.
That was a next level play by Byron Brown. That's another safety or linebacker 2nd level blitz. Well, earlier in the game, Byron Brown was getting sacked. Now he saw the blitz and he escaped ever so subtly outside the pocket and threw it away. It looks like a nothing play, a throwaway, but that could have been a sack if it weren't for the awareness by number 17, Byron Brown.
Brown hit as he threw. It was in the general vicinity of Christian Neptune. Great pressure from the Will linebacker, Jaden Flaker.
2 options right here. 3rd down and 10. You don't need 10 if you're South Florida. You want to get 5 or 6 to make the field goal easier. Memphis, I think the only option is to pressure, because if they get 5 or 6, you think that's going to be points. Of course, you don't want to give up a touchdown, but if I'm Memphis, I bring the blitz and try to create a negative play to make it a harder field goal for Gramatica.
All day. And zipped in at the 25-yard line for a catch by Jeremiah Coger. And now South Florida will burn their final timeout.
Takes their 3rd, final charge, timeout of the half.
Boy, have they delivered
30-second timeout.
on some monster third downs in this game.
And if they make this field goal, so you don't, they're trying to rush up to the ball, spike the ball, no need. You have one timeout, kick the field goal. But if they make this field goal, it's going to feel like just popping the air out of the balloon that Memphis thought they had. Look at all the time that Byron Brown has. Only a 3-man rush. You have 7 guys, 8 guys all watching the quarterback. But Byron Brown is eating the 3-man rush alive. So we got a 12, 14 yards on that game, making it an easier attempt for Grammatica. And like I said, points here, it just deflates Memphis. They feel like they mounted this great comeback and they're going to be able to double up. And South Florida said, hey, that sounds good, but we got Byron Brown, we got Jeremiah Coger, we got a Grammatica kicking the football.
He prefers the left hash on field goals of 45 plus. This will be from 46.
Memphis takes their third and final charge, timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
Well, one of the great rivalries internationally in any sport. El Clasico. Real Madrid, Barcelona. They played 262 times. Real Madrid has just a 2-game edge.
Who you like? Who you like?
I'm going to take Barcelona in this one. You can watch it Sunday, 11:15 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN2 and, of course, the app.
What about on FIFA? Who do you like? Like if we were on the sticks playing FIFA, I'm choosing Barcelona.
I'm gonna take PSG.
Oh, Paris Saint-Germain.
That's right. Look at you. There's Nico Grammatica from 46, right down the middle. And does that take away a little bit of the luster of that final touchdown drive by Memphis?
Time has expired on the play. That is halftime.
We're talking a lot about soccer, man, but Grammatica's got a boot on him as well. And watch the celebration. He's excited. He's passionate. Look at him. Thought he was going to take his shirt off and slide with the 2 knees. That's literally a soccer celebration.
They got the ball with 50 seconds left and score a field goal to make it a 10-point game. Zubin and Trevor have you in the studio. Welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee, as we check out the first half stats brought to you by Tums. Dominant offensive first half for South Florida. They converted 9 third downs, a couple of them on critical drives. Matt Schumacher, Sam Acho, Taylor Davis with you. Despite the dominance by Byram Brown and this offense, it's only a 10-point game.
It could have been only a 7-point game if it weren't for that big-time play by South Florida to get 3 points on the board for Grammatica.
ESPN College Football presented by Tums. Memphis will get the football to start the second half. Remember, they scored a touchdown to make it a 1-score game with 50 seconds left in the first half. Then USF's warp speed offense went down and kicked a field goal to make it a 2-score game again. And that is where we begin the second half of this all-important American Conference showdown, with not only conference implications, but playoff implications as well. And the star of the show has been Byram Brown.
And it's really frustrating for defenders. He makes them go what I call Acho mind. Things that he does, it's hard to try to calculate or comprehend. Is it an RPO? Is it a speed option? Does he look like Devin Hester? Maybe it's Saquon Barkley. Watch this play. A fake spin, a hurdle, stays on his feet, the balance, the precision, the speed, the strength. He's a hack. He shouldn't be allowed to do the things that he does.
Lewis underneath and caught by Marcelo Bussey. Can Brendan Lewis and this Memphis offense pick up where they left off the end of the first half? Greg DeWosier was tripped up, makes it 3rd down. Prior to their final touchdown drive of the opening half, they had punted 5 consecutive times. They scored on the opening drive of the game after an interception set them up at the 28-yard line of South Florida. So we haven't had to see them drive down the field and make scores consecutively in this game yet. Frank Pizantz driving ahead to move the chains.
Now, this first series of the first drive of the third quarter means everything for an offense and also a defense. Why? Because at halftime you make these halftime adjustments. You give these halftime speeches, but it all sounds good until it's time to perform. That first down by Pizantz can try to send a message for this Memphis team to say, hey, we got to go out here and score to get this back to a 1-score game.
Well, Memphis's offense was held to less than 50 yards rushing, Sam, in the opening half. It's a team that, like South Florida, one of the top rushing offenses in the country. You got to think getting the run game involved is a big piece to their success in the second half.
You got to give credit, though, to South Florida, who's one of the best teams when it comes to tackling people on their side of the line of scrimmage. South Florida brings so many different looks to a front, to an offensive line, where you don't know where they're going to be. Are they going to be 3 down, 4 down, blitz? That's what makes it difficult. Long throw from Lewis, caught out across the 50. Spinning free is Cortez Braham Jr., and fought for extra yardage, gain of 14. What some of the adjustments that we have seen, though, is the ball's coming out a lot quicker now in this half. Brandon Lewis is getting the ball out quick. He knows that the blitz is coming. He knows the pressure is coming. So he's going to get the ball out and let his receivers and even his running backs make plays for him. Unbelievable job by Braham getting that first down and trying to provide a spark for his team. 3 catches for 31 yards and a touchdown now for Memphis's leading receiver. Lewis will keep as a blocker, upended, got across the 31-yard line. That's the dynamic that's been missing for this Memphis offense. It's the ability of Lewis using his legs. If the South Florida defense has to prepare for that, it'll make them just a step slower and give a little bit of an advantage to the offense. Didn't see much of it in the first quarter. Started to see them open it up a bit with the quarterback run in the second quarter. Remember, Lewis missed almost the entire second half last week at UAB with an ankle injury.
First and 10. Play action. He is brought down from behind. Jonas DeClona, the Wisconsin transfer, coming in from the cornerback spot.
That was a delayed cornerback blitz. Chris Adams, left tackle, he does his job. He doesn't see that blitz late. It's very difficult to see that blitz as an offensive lineman because it seemed like it was just a little bit delayed. Adams didn't see it. The quarterback didn't see it. No one saw it. So DeClona was able to get that tackle for loss, that sack.
Third sack of the game for the Bulls defense.
And now they move to that 3-down look. 8 guys who are up, so it makes it another adjustment for Memphis.
Pressure off the edge. DeWosier with 2 men to beat. Slips past both. And then is dropped after a gain of a yard or 2.
So we're seeing that pressure being put back on. Another cornerback blitz, didn't make it that time. So now Memphis, 3rd down and about 15 or so. It's hard to get the ball out quick when it's 3rd and 15. So maybe the adjustment for Memphis is to put more people in protection, have a tight end in protection, maybe keep a running back in protection. We call it 7-man protection. Only going to be a 3-man route, but it'll give you more time to get the ball out.
Christian Ross is the tight end just off the formation. Memphis has converted just twice today on 3rd down. Needs 16. Lewis, long throw on the run and just overshot his intended target, Marcelo Bussey. Boy, it was there, but the window closed quickly.
Well, the reason it was there is because there was that 7-man protection. Running back and tight end are in the block. And there was a little bit of a window, a little bit of an opening, but Bussey was unable to make the catch because the ball was about 2-3 yards over his head.
They will try Gianni Spedic from 54.
I like the decision. It seems a little bit risky, but in a 2-score game, this 55-yarder.
It is good from Spedic. Second longest field goal of the season. And he makes it a 1-score game again in Memphis.
Spedic hit 55. Looked like it could have been good for about 60. 1-score game, big-time play, Gianni Spedic.
ESPN College Football presented by Tums. Ryan Silverfield's offense comes right down the field on the opening drive of the second half. Connects on a 55-yard field goal. They have been exceptional this year in the second half. Hoping for more of that today on homecoming. Those teams won 10 games in a row in this building. And trying to avenge that loss in upset fashion last week on the road at UAB. They were 23.5-point favorites in that game. Taylor.
Well, guys, I spoke with head coach Alex Golish at the half. He described Byron Brown's first half as elite. He said after that early interception, all he brought was poise and confidence. It's exactly what he wants to see in this second half. He also said the third down efficiency has been key for them, but Memphis's defense is dropping like crazy. He said we have to win in man coverage. He also said they've got to find ways to run the ball, which will be more difficult. Alvon Isaac is out for the second half, Matt.
Wow, that is a blow. Thank you very much, Taylor. They will run here with Brown, who was excellent on the ground in the first half. That monster touchdown that we showed you earlier in our Acho Mind. Broke a tackle, hurdled a man. He's got that type of ability at the quarterback position. Expect to see more carries from Nakai Davenport, with Isaac out for the second half. Third and short.
I love how, look at the entire defense. They're looking at the sideline. The entire offense looking at their sideline. This is the chess match that happens in all of football, but also hurry-up games like these.
Pressure off the edge. Brown got rid of it. Underneath, Singleton makes a man miss and continues the drive. 10 third down conversions in the game for the Bulls offense.
You saw more pressure that time from Memphis. They didn't sit back in 8-man drop and 3-man rush. They brought people off the edge, but Byron Brown was able to maneuver the pocket and find Singleton across.
There's Christian Neptune. Boy, South Florida has done such a nice job, to me, Sam, in picking up these delayed blitzes by Jordan Hankins' Memphis defense.
They are using their eyes extremely well, specifically at the quarterback position.
Speaking of, Brown tackled after a gain of 3.
In addition to using the eyes, some of the blitzes are coming from the second level. So you're seeing safety blitzes. Well, Chris Bracey, the safety, is trying to disguise. So he's not lining up at 3 or 4 yards. He's lining up back at 10, 12 yards deep to try to hold the disguise. The problem is it's taking so long to get there. So it's one of the challenges. Do you cheat up just a little bit and try and get there sooner? But if you cheat up too much, you give up the disguise, and all of a sudden you throw it over. They throw it over your head.
Keyshawn Singleton is down. His head coach Alex Golish over to take a look. This has been a physically played ball game.
See those hands on the shoulder pad.
Sits down so that our officiating crew can be alerted that he was banged up on the play.
I'm not a body language expert, but he looked like trying to pop something back into place. That's what some of the looks like the athletic staff of South Florida is just trying to work on the hand of Singleton.
Well, this is a South Florida receiving core that's down Chaz Nimrod, their leading wide receiver. He's missing back-to-back games after an injury suffered against North Texas. Singleton had that big third down catch and run to extend the drive a couple of plays ago.
See the patience and then the simple crossing route. You're running away from a defender and you turn upfield and get a first down. Singleton was the player earlier in the game that was open down the field on that deep post route. So he has the speed to get behind defenses, but also the ability to make critical plays on critical downs.
So 2nd and 7, 8 minutes left in the third quarter. South Florida, winners of 4 in a row after their loss to a top 5 Miami team. Their offense has been exceptional during this win streak. Brown keeps, shakes a man, spins out of another tackle, and is ushered out of bounds inside the 30 after a gain of 14.
It shouldn't be fair what Byron Brown's able to do. This play was played perfectly. Everyone's in their position, but Byron Brown doesn't really care about your position. You'll slide off of him, he'll spin around you, and he'll still stay on his feet.
98 yards rushing for the South Florida quarterback. Takes a shot to the end zone. Lots of contact out wide. Koger got held up.
So not only can he run the ball, but also he puts the ball in a position to put the defense out of position.
It's Shannon Blair getting tangled up with a true freshman wide receiver Koger. They have operated with such efficiency in the red zone this year. Frankly, both programs have. Top 25 red zone offenses. And they've been perfect today.
Rumfield, number 3, did a great job of attacking the offensive lineman. He's a linebacker, and he knew the draw was coming, and so he came straight downhill, defeated the block of the offensive lineman, and he's the reason why Byron Brown wasn't able to get more yards on that play. So you got to be physical versus South Florida offense. You have to be physical at the point of attack for this offensive lineman and physical when you get to the quarterback. Otherwise, you will slide off of him because of his strength.
Brown faked the run, floats it to the end zone. He was looking for Jonathan Eccles. Incomplete. Florida State transfer corner Omarion Cooper had the coverage.
Summing in some fresh bodies from Memphis defensively. And situations like these, I feel like that's where Byron Brown is at his best. Red zone, gotta have it. You might be in your position, but he's going to use his 6'3", 230-pound frame to take over.
Brown felt the heat. Screen set up to Neptune. He is short of the line to gain, but awfully close. Is it go-for-it territory for Golesh?
I don't think so. If I'm Alex Golesh, I kick the football. I extend my lead out of a 1-score game to a 2-score game. The reason why is that your offense, I think, has the opportunity to score quickly and score more. If you don't score here, you give momentum to Memphis. And on Memphis' side of the mindset, this is a huge opportunity. This is essentially what could be a 7-point swing. If you stop them here, you get an opportunity to go and score, and really a 14-point swing if you score.
Game into the day, converting 70% on 4th down. 2 on the play clock. Got it off. Brown floats. Low to Neptune. Memphis with the stop. Jeremiah Jordan on the coverage, and the Tigers have a chance to tie the game when we come back in Memphis.
Introducing SportsCenter for you, personalized every single day. Now available on the ESPN app. Powered by your favorites.
Welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee. Homecoming for the Tigers. Their star transfer quarterback Brendan Lewis, who came into the day with 42 collegiate starts with 3 different programs, now has an opportunity to lead this offense on a game-tying drive after a 4th down stop on a decision by Alex Golish to go for it on 4th and 4 inside the red zone. Lewis pumped. It's his check down man Duosier with a corner. Duosier ran out of bounds at the 31.
How do you get 93 yards? I don't think you need to get it all at once. You just get it little by little. Lewis uses his legs just a little bit and gets it to his running back, number 13, Duosier. Duosier does the rest. He's able to get the edge, not able to turn on the burners and score, but you don't need to score right now, just inch by inch by inch.
Lewis with all day to throw. Everyone blanketed for now. Flag comes in behind the play. He's got blockers out across midfield. What will the flag do to that game? And it's coming back.
Holding, offense number 78. 10-yard penalty, first down.
On the right tackle, Travis Burke.
So that ball was supposed to be gone early. That was a deep shot. And unfortunately for Memphis, the deep post wasn't open. So you see Brendan Lewis looking deep. He wants to throw it, but he doesn't. So as an offensive lineman, you got to wait. And then towards the very end, you see the hands go inside. And that's the holding by the 6'9" right tackle.
Backs them up nearly all the way back to their own 20-yard line. Again, swing it out to Duosier. Can't spin free of Jonas Taclona.
I'm so impressed, Matt, by the tackling of South Florida defensively. One of the reasons why Memphis is one of the best rushing teams is that they make people miss in space. And there's been very few missed tackles by South Florida defensively. There's been a couple, like 1 or 2 in the first quarter. They use the shoulder and able to bounce out, but that's been the difference. The tackling by South Florida.
Screen to Pazant. Flag is down, and he is wrapped up by Iris Singleton.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 0. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Rare to see a mistake like that from Jarvis Lee, their starting nickel, who has really emerged as a leader in his 3rd year in the program.
You see, he's frustrated with himself. It was a screen, and so as a blitzer, you're thinking, I'm going to get the quarterback. He's mine. I win. You see that contact look like it was a little bit high to the head of the quarterback, and if there's contact high to the head of the quarterback or physical contact down below the knees, that's when that penalty can ensue.
Results in a 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Hit a field goal from 55 yards on their opening drive of the 3rd quarter. Sutton Smith, a little bit of trouble on the mesh, but turned it into positive yardage.
The defensive line, Matt, of this South Florida Bulls team, they're setting the tone. Yes, the ball's moving, but they have been the difference, in my opinion.
And Todd Orlando told us they've been the difference all year. So many people like to talk about their linebackers, but he said it's been the D-line that set it up for everyone else.
They're the ones that are letting the linebackers eat. They're taking up blockers. They're stunning inside. They're creating pressure and leaving it open for guys like Schuler.
Speaking of the D-line, there's Denard Flowers, one of 5 transfers. And Todd Orlando told us, he told everybody around the program and outside that the D-line is who impressed him the most in fall camp, and they all thought he was joking because they had so many fresh faces on that unit. But boy, have they delivered.
Another guy, number 63, Selascar, is another guy who's shown up and has shown out. That first game versus Boise State, where this defense from South Florida was the most physical team. Second game versus Florida, they were more physical, and that's the shout out to the defensive line.
3rd and 5 here for Memphis. Lewis under duress. Floats it to his tight end, Christian Ross. Ross still going inside the 30. And just the third down conversion of the game. It goes for 27.
Even if you're not at 100% at quarterback Brandon Lewis, that ability to maneuver the pocket, to outrun the defense, and to keep your eyes downfield, throwing it across your body, which most people advise against. But he just makes good decisions. Those 42 starts, that experience is what's helping him maneuver the ball down the field.
Began his career at Colorado, where he was a starter as a freshman, named a captain going into his sophomore year, lost the starting job, rebounded in 2 years starting at Nevada, as that play was blown up by Jarvis Lee.
Yeah, Lee came in on that blitz earlier just to talk about this play. And now that's how you make a tackle. Well, kind of, right? He kind of missed, and he used his legs to try to trip him up a little bit. He could tell. Look at him, sticking his tongue out. He's like, ooh, I know, I got you. But he's bringing pressure. This South Florida defense, we've talked about their tackling. We've talked about their pressure. They don't miss very often, and that's what separates them from other defenses.
On 2nd and 14, underneath to Adcock. Well, Lewis said he learned so much from that adversity of being a captain going into his sophomore year, losing the starting job, and then Sam going and playing for a team that didn't win a whole lot of games at Nevada in his 2 years as the starter.
But he came here, and the coaches were talking about how he wanted to lead and he was voted a captain, but he was kind of whispering to himself, like, man, I wish that player would make a play and make the catch. He's like, no, tell them, hey, make that catch, run this route. And he's spoken up and led even more.
Third and 8. Was it complete to Bryce Anderson? Yes. Initially, the call is complete. Now the official's going to get together on this. South Florida sideline waving incomplete almost immediately, but they will mark the ball as if it was a completed catch.
And all plays are reviewed, so this play is being looked at to see if it was a completed pass. Memphis trying to hurry up and run a play, but it's going to be reviewed.
Previous play, the ruling of completed catch is under further review.
It'll either be 4th and long or 4th and 2, pending the review when we return. freeze framing the last catch by Bryce Anderson. It went to review. The call on the field was a completed catch, 4th and 2. And per the review, the call has been overturned, which brings up 4th and 8. And the kick unit will come out for Memphis.
So opportunity now with number 44 kicker Gianni Spedic to get this. Not necessarily, it's already a 1-score game, but now if Memphis converts and then gets a stop, a touchdown gives them the lead.
And it would be their first lead since they led 7-0. From 45, Spedic tucks it in. No, he does not. It's wide, and he missed. Wow. Had hit earlier in the day from 55 yards, and that one just tailed outside the uprights.
Interesting. This ball is right. The ball was spotted right in the middle, and you would think right in the middle should be one of the easier kicks, but you see it just start to tail wide outside of the uprights. So now South Florida has an opportunity to extend their lead. And if I'm South Florida, as fast as I usually go, I still go fast, but you start thinking first downs because it takes so much time off of the clock.
South Florida takes over with excellent starting field position. Here's Sam Franklin. Franklin in a foot race. Inside the 15, house call. 73 yards.
Or not. Don't take your time and just go score. Sam Franklin spent time at UT Martin, but it's not just him. It's Byron Brown, quarterback, zone read. Eyes are on Brown, and Sam Franklin does a great job of using his speed, using that stride, 4-on-4, and doing the rest.
Wow. Almost had the feeling of a sudden change with the missed field goal that you expected to go in. You thought Memphis was going to get points. The very next play, Sam Franklin breaks one to the house.
Well, it was a sudden change. People think that a turnover is just when someone gets an interception, or a takeaway is when they recover, force and recover a fumble. But as a defense, you consider a missed field goal as a turnover. And then the sudden change, you're on defense now, and now the offense is on the field, they immediately go down and score. That's how momentum is shifts during games. Offense, defense, and special teams.
Second rushing touchdown of the year for Franklin of 50+. That is the longest of the season for South Florida. And now Terrian Mormon, one of their special teamers, is down as we check in with Zubin Mehenti. Thank you very much, Zubin. Mormon still down here after the PAT by South Florida to make it a 2-score game again here in Memphis. And if you're Ryan Silverfield, what is going through your mind right now? Had an opportunity to make it a 4-point game, Sam, and then literally one play later, it's back to 2 scores.
We were thinking, try to get your own sudden change. Maybe on the kickoff, you had a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown last week. You're thinking, man, if I could just get a return, if I could just have an explosive play, if I could just try to find a way. And then on the other side with South Florida, it seems like another injury, but the head coach, Alex Golish, is just still with his players.
Well, the next stop on the F1 schedule is the Mexico City Grand Prix. The track is nearly 1.5 miles above sea level. highest altitude course on the circuit. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 Eastern on ABC and the all-new ESPN app. And speaking of the course, not only is it 1.5 miles above sea level, look at all these crazy turns. I do not want to be in the car with Sam Acho driving on that track.
Well, you take me, you have the look of a race car driver, right? I know you ran track in college, but you take me as a guy who could take a couple risks. What kind of numbers are you putting up if you're going around the track?
I have the last name of a race car driver.
Oh, Schumacher. Let's go. Is there any relation?
No relation, and you would know that by watching me drive. My record is not spotless, Mr. Acho. So another situation for the Memphis Tigers offense in which they have to find a way to respond and do so quickly after a drive stalls. A drive that looked really good, and if it weren't for an overturned incompletion, they might have gone for it on 4th and 2, and their drive could still be going right now.
As interesting as it is, we keep on saying, man, what does Memphis need to do to try and get it turned around? And South Florida's like, yeah, do all you want, but I'm going to bring pressure. I'm going to bring a blitz. I'm going to show you that our defense is one of the best in the nation. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it's almost like this heavyweight bout, one team battling, but another one saying, I don't care how hard you fight. I'll take those body blows, hit you with a knockout punch.
Jamari Hawkins makes the catch, takes us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Heavyweight American Conference bout with CFP implications. We head to the 4th in Memphis.
Tigers trailing 31-17. Ryan Silverfield joins me now. Coach, a tough way to end the third quarter. What are you emphasizing to your guys as they enter the fourth?
Yeah, we got to execute better. We're not in the spots we need to be, offense or defensively. Clearly, some miscommunication on defense not being there, some missed tackles. Ultimately, it's leading to some explosive plays.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
First play of the fourth quarter is a long throw and catch to Cortez Graham. And another one to move the chains for Memphis.
We were talking about what does Memphis need to do when the running game hasn't really been effective. Maybe you go to some of the passing game, keep your running back in the block, and start targeting Graham more.
Just 56 yards on the ground today for a Memphis team that came in top 20 in the nation in rushing. Speaking of, Brendan Lewis, who again came into the game with an injured ankle, suffered in the second half against UAB. Another long run in the second half.
And that part of his game has to activate as well. I understand you're battling through an ankle injury, but game on the line, you got to start using your legs more.
Play action. Bussey could not corral. Probably good he didn't, because it would have been a loss on the play. It's a real opportunity for this Memphis team to bounce back after they entered last week 6-0. Heavy favorites on the road at UAB. The favorite to win this conference, the favorite to make it out of this conference to the CFP. The loss to UAB changed all of that. But a huge opportunity here against a top 20 USF team that comes in 3-0 in league play this afternoon. 2nd and 10. Lewis had it batted down and nearly intercepted by Iris Singleton. Rico Watson with the swat. And it brings up 3rd and long.
And what do we see from Florida State, or excuse me, South Florida? Another corner blitz. Number 3, the cornerback, Jonas DeClona. Another blitz. So they're bringing so much pressure to South Florida defense. They're not even giving Memphis an opportunity to get their feet settled.
Just 3 third down conversions in the game. 1 on the last drive. Here's Hawkins, has enough to convert and more. Inside the 25 as he fought through tacklers. Gains 18.
So if you know pressure's coming, how do you respond to it? You attack the blitz. There was another pressure from that right side. You throw right where they left. That's the answer to teams that love to try to bring pressure. They blitz you, okay, I'm going to go to the zone that you vacated. I'm going to throw it right over your head and get that first down.
Rico Watson is the defender down. Had that tip ball on the last play before the 3rd down conversion.
Attempt to make the tackle. You see really 3 guys all collide with one another.
Rico Watson was there. Mac Harris was in there as well. Watson, one of 3 returning starters at the linebacker position. It's a group that brings so much experience to this defense this year.
What's been impressive to me, as weird as it sounds, I've been a part of games where a lot of guys have gone down. And sometimes it can be deflating to a team. You're seeing your teammates either get injured and maybe come back. Sometimes they're unable to come back. And 2 things have stood out. Number 1, Alex Golish, how he's always there with his guys. You don't always see that from coaches. And the second thing, as Watson is sitting up, is the ability to overcome adversity. People talk about the next man up mentality. Someone goes down, who's going to be the next person to step in? I've just been impressed by the togetherness of South Florida.
Well, Memphis's last drive resulted in a missed field goal, just barely outside the left hash. The very next play, 73-yard house call by Sam Franklin. major point swing from a 4-point game to a 2-touchdown game with the miss and ensuing touchdown. And now Memphis trying to make it a 1-score game again. 1st and 10 carry up the middle. And another explosive run on the ground by Greg DeWosier.
Major point swing, but also a major momentum shift. And how do you shift that momentum back to your side at Memphis is just keep on getting first downs. It feels like the game's far out of reach. 1 touchdown, all of a sudden it's a 1-score game.
Back to the ground. DeWosier shifting into the end zone. 13-yard touchdown. And a 1-score game again in Memphis.
It's like they're on the field going for the 2-point conversion. That crossed my mind in a situation like this. And I still don't understand the analytics behind why people go for 2. I get it. You go for 2 and now you score, and all of a sudden it's a you can win the game. I like the decision, but I need to get in the coach's mind of saying, okay, why do you go for 2 in a situation like this?
DeWosier in the backfield after his 6th rushing touchdown of the season. Pressure. Lewis. Incomplete. Almost intercepted. And the 2-point gamble does not pay off for Ryan Silverfield.
Greg DeWosier, number 13, with a 13-yard touchdown, with the vision, the patience, the balance, the speed, the end zone, 1-score game.
ESPN College Football. is presented by Tums Fast Heartburn Relief, so you can love food back.
We are back in Memphis. One-score game again after Greg DeWosier 13-yard touchdown run. Missed two-point conversion by Memphis. 8-point lead for South Florida. Not returnable for Smith. Let's take a look at today's player spotlight, brought to you by Tecovas. Byram Brown. Another video game-like afternoon here in Memphis.
You can do it all. Over 200 passing yards, over 100 rushing yards. He looks like he's going to spin. He's going to hurdle over you. This is the 5th straight game that South Florida has rushed for over 250 yards, and Brown's a huge piece of that as he continues adding to his numbers.
Taylor.
Guys, I straight up asked him this week, why did you choose to stay at South Florida? A lot of Power 4 schools that were interested in his skill set. He told me point blank, it's because of Alex Golesh. He said he had trust in me. He's continued to have trust in me even through the injury. And I felt we had all the pieces here to go the distance. It's truly showcased in how involved he is on this sideline. The guys rally around him. He really galvanizes the team, and really impressive the loyalty he has to his head coach.
Low snap, fields it, hangs in the pocket, delivers a completed catch by Jeremiah Coger. Despite the defender draped on him, it was Shannon Blair, and a gain of 15.
I'm still amazed by that catch by Coger. One-handed over a defender, not just one foot, get both feet down.
Brown pulls it out, brought down by Brumfield. No, back to Taylor's point. The relationship between head coach and quarterback in this particular instance, Golesh and Brown, even tighter than one may think. Brown had just 3 Division I football offers. One of them was South Florida, and it was to come here in Golesh's first year, trying to turn the program around after just 1 win the year before his arrival.
And I love that story because you only have 3 offers, and all of a sudden you turn into this superhero, and everyone's offering you, and the coach says, not even says, you don't have to say anything, there's a relationship. But you want to talk about relationship, it's 3rd down. You got to perform, right? 3rd and 9, still a 1-score game. You're 10 of 14 on 3rd down. He's used his arm a lot more on 3rd down. I expect a little bit more of that, and I expect Memphis, at least it looks like, they're going to bring the house.
They do bring pressure up the middle. Brown evades, and incomplete. Looking for Moody Rubin, and Chris Bracey again.
I told you, man, that dude can play. Like, you could talk about whatever you want to talk about. That was a critical play. Chris Bracey, safety number 5. He sees the crosser coming around Rubin, and he just knocks that ball out. He swats that ball out. No penalty, no PI, no holding. Just great vision and the celebration. Incomplete.
Another big stop for this Memphis defense. Remember, they stopped USF earlier in the half on a 4th down and 4 in the red zone. Sutton Smith fair catches it at his own 8. Memphis again will have a chance to tie on our ensuing drive when we return with 11:05 to play in Memphis. Pretty remarkable. As we welcome you back to Memphis, you are watching the American Conference on ESPN. Memphis's defense comes up with a stop, forces a punt, and for the 4th time today, their offense will begin a drive inside its own 10. They have yet to score on such drives this afternoon. Brendan Lewis taken down at the 18. Ball came out at the end of that play. And we've got one official downing it where he initially went down, and another one saying that the ball will be spotted where the ball trickled. Still no signal on who has it. Memphis football.
That second piece of this game for Memphis is the quarterback run, and Brendan Lewis knees down before that ball is punched out. But man, whether it's South Florida or Memphis, they have a knack for attacking the football. So yes, knee down, obvious, but ball protection is going to be integral in this 4th quarter.
Interesting not to review the spot there. 3 extra yards for Memphis, would have been down at the 18, instead ball at the 21. Lewis will use his legs to get out of bounds at the 29.
You saw again a defender attacking the football of quarterback Brendan Lewis. So as methodical as Memphis wants to be, and they've scored on 3 of their last 4 drives, they've been effective. 3 of the last 4 drives they scored. They missed a field goal. That was the only miss. As methodical as they want to be, they have to still protect the football because South Florida is hunting for the rock.
Still no turnovers in the game for the Tigers against the top turnover defense in the nation. South Florida has turned it over at least once in 15 consecutive games. B. Lou slides down as Jarvis Lee was bearing down from that nickel spot.
And the benefit of him using his legs is the fact that now it just slows down the defense just a little bit for the zone read. Now that defensive end who's looking, okay, I'm a quarterback player, but also I'm the cutback, they have to respect the quarterback just a little bit more. 3rd and 1, I still think you can run the ball on the inside. You don't have to pass it here.
They've run it more efficiently for sure in the second half than we saw them do in the first half. And they will run it up the middle here. With forward progress, a 1st down.
You notice how Memphis has they've been more effective. And the reason why, we talked about it, the quarterback run. So if I'm South Florida on the defensive side of the ball, I know that this game has changed just a little bit. Quarterback earlier, Brendan Lewis wasn't really using his legs. Now that he is, you may not want to blitz as much because if he beats you, it could be a bigger game.
Lewis takes a shot here, has a man open over the middle. It's caught. Jamari Hawkins inside the 15. Biggest pass play of the day, goes for 57.
Well, Jarvis Lee, the corner, had been blitzing and blitzing and blitzing and blitzing and blitzing, and now he's in coverage and he's a step or 2 or 3 or 4 too late.
1st and 10. Dewozier stacked up at the 10-yard line.
That's that benefit, and Hawkins has the speed to be able to get by the defense. That's the benefit of the run game. People say that the run sets up the pass. What do you mean by that? That's what it means. You run the ball, you have safeties, and their eyes are looking to the run, and all of a sudden, they look in the backfield for a second too long, and then the speed of some of the receivers, even sometimes tight ends, can get behind you as a defense.
Lewis looking end zone, floats it away. Jamari Hawkins, their number 2 wide receiver, Tim Cramsey told us, had every opportunity to leave in the last offseason. His talent coveted around the country at the Power 4 level, chose to stay, and the coaching staff told us it's been so fun to see him grow.
Yeah, he could have left, and he started off mainly playing special teams, and He's worked and he worked and he worked and he got his opportunity. And other people saw him and said, hey, come to us. He said, no, I want to stay and honor the opportunity. Well, here's the opportunity. It's 3rd and 9. Game on the line. Honor it.
To the air goes Lewis. Being chased by Flowers. Low pass to Adcock, incomplete. And the kick unit will come out without hesitation for Ryan Silverfield.
Great decision to kick the football and take the points. The worst thing you can do in this situation is to go for it, not get it. Now there's 7 minutes left and the offense scores or runs, and now it's 3 minutes left. Take your points, trust your defense, and make it in a situation where a touchdown for you will win the game.
28-yarder for Johnny Spedick, who missed from 45 on his last attempt.
It's not over. South Florida knows they missed, the miss happened, so they can get their hands up on this.
Kick is away and right down the middle for Spedick.
Run, 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 run. Throw it right over your head. The speed of Hawkins with a big time gain.
What a game this afternoon in Memphis. It has lived up to the billing. Two programs coming in with legit college football playoff hopes. Two teams with paths to the conference title game. Byron Brown yet again has dazzled this afternoon. 2 touchdown passes and a rushing TD to boot. His team leads by 5 with 7:08 to play in the 4th. And Jaquan Smith will fair catch it. Big slate of games still to come. 3:30 Eastern on ABC, the all-new ESPN app. 4th-ranked Bama squaring off against South Carolina. Is that a trap game for the Tide? Then tonight, Death Valley on a Saturday night. Say less. Top 20 showdown between Texas A&M and LSU. And the Aggies, Sam, enter the game 7-0 for the first time since the mid-90s. Still a tough schedule for A&M after this one.
Missouri, Texas, the end of the season.
What a throw and catch to Singleton. Brown on the run. Double-digit gain moves the chains.
That was a confident throw.
Big pop there at the 40-yard line. Memphis players slow to get up. Chauncey Logan Jr. Over 300 total yards in the game for Byron Brown. Second and 8. Brown a heave. Looking for Neptune and incomplete. Chris Bracey again in coverage.
Every time you need a play on defense, it seems as if for Memphis, Chris Bracey makes it. The patience that he shows, the confidence not to have a penalty in a situation like that. That was a perfectly placed ball by Byron Brown. But Bracey has just enough of an effect on the play.
Third pass breakup of the day for the former UAB Blazer. Chris Bracey brings up 3rd and 8.
Crowd's getting into it a little bit.
Play clock at 5. Brown buying time. Turns the corner and has enough for the first down. It appears.
You see what I'm saying about like thinking that you have an angle? Like if I'm the linebacker in that position, Drew Watts, the Sam linebacker, I thought I had the angle, but
well, that was 4th down. The stick on the sideline says 4th down. And they were incorrect. It was 1st down. It's an incomplete pass. USF offense moving too quick for the chain gang here in Memphis.
They are, but that incompletion does stop the clock. Benefit for Memphis when they want to get the ball back.
Sam Franklin swallowed up in the backfield. Look at all the gray and blue jerseys.
So number 1, you lose your angle, but number 2, you get that stop. And number 3, you see Sam Brumfield, number 3, runs over the interior offensive lineman. We talked about the physicality, but if you're Memphis, this is 3rd down. It feels like the game's on the line. You need a stop. Will you bring pressure, or will you sit back in a 3-man rush and let Byron Brown do what Byron Brown does and slice and dice?
Need to get to about the 41-yard line to extend the drive. Pressure comes, and it's batted down. Tiger defense stands tall. William Whitlow Jr. with the swat.
William Whitlow Jr., one of the leaders of this defense, leader of the team, went down with injury earlier, came back. It's a screen. He knows it's a screen, but all his momentum is already going forward. He doesn't retrace. He just gets his hands up and matches the quarterback's hand. Whitlow is the lone returning starter from this team on defense last season. He's a leader, and leaders make plays when you need it the most.
And he went down in the first half with injury. Taylor Davis reported that he was back on the sideline but limping around. First big play we have seen from him since he exited the game. And a shanked punt goes out of bounds by Chase Leon at about the 27, 28. No, they're going to say the 30-yard line is where Memphis will start with the football after a 23-yard punt.
And crazy as it sounds, that's a great field position for Memphis. There's been 4 times that Memphis has started this game inside their own 10-yard line. They're 20 yards ahead of where they started last time. Different situation. It's not a field goal situation. You think you need a touchdown unless you get in range quickly. So Memphis is at an advantage right now.
South Florida shows blitz. Brings 4. Lewis complete. Christian Ross out across the 40-yard line. Taylor Davis.
Sam, I know you always always love talking about the sideline demeanor. I have been so impressed down here on the Memphis sideline, considering the way the third quarter ended and the fact that there are 78 transfers on this team. No one withdrew, no one turned on each other. There has been a belief down here on the sidelines, regardless what's been thrown at them.
Well, Taylor, that's the thing that people don't see on TV. They don't see or feel that energy. So a report like that means everything. You have 78 new people on the team.
Lewis pulled it out, pumped, and somehow turned that into a positive play. One of those 78 new players, which, by the way, leads the country this season.
I love the play by Brendan Lewis. If he gives this ball, that's a tackle for loss, and that's going to be a negative play, but instead he keeps it, doesn't fumble, right? He takes the ball out of the mesh point and gets positive yards.
2nd and 8. Lewis backed up, buys time, throws a dart to Matt Adcock, and it is complete.
That looked like
question
a catch.
mark.
That looked like a catch to me. It's going to be reviewed, but to me that looked like a reception. Matt Adcock, the fullback, 6'3", 260. He keeps his toes in bounds. Oh, no, he had a foot out of bounds. His left foot was out of bounds. So that's going to be an incomplete pass.
They never made a ruling on the field, but the video board did the ruling, and it's 3rd down.
Now it's 3rd and 8. Brendan Lewis has been poised the second half.
Lewis dancing way back inside his own 30 and has to flip it out of bounds.
What do? You punt or do you go for it? I punt.
And let your defense get a stop.
And let my defense get a stop. I punt the ball because I've got 3 timeouts. There's enough to, and the 2-minute timeout. And also it's 4th and 8. If I don't get it, now all of a sudden South Florida is already close to field goal range, and that to me makes it too difficult. So I punt, but they're going for it. Let's see how they try to handle it.
Lining up to go for it anyway. And they do on 4th and 8. Lewis floats, caught, 1st down and more. Greg DeWosier Jr., who has become the big play target for Memphis this afternoon.
The effect of the quarterback. Brendan Lewis has been using his legs. So number 24 inside linebacker Schuler, his eyes are on the quarterback. He's supposed to be on the running back, DeWosier. But instead, he has a missed assignment, a busted assignment, and the trust between DeWosier and Lewis pays off.
Nearing 100 all-purpose yards.
Would it hurt if I screamed into that?
Ball at midfield. DeWosier again on the swing pass with blockers.
Five-point game. Touchdown gives you the lead. Field goal does not help you. Memphis has had so much comfort this series. South Florida on their side, I think you need to bring some more pressure. Get Lewis less comfortable and create some negativity on their side.
Clock continuing to churn, under 2:50 to go. And movement up front.
Full start. Offense 61. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Second false start this afternoon on the veteran left tackle Chris Adams.
And just going back to earlier in the game, remember, Matt, South Florida had the ball in the red zone inside the 10-yard line on 4th down. They could have kicked a field goal. They didn't. Those 3 points could loom large in a situation like this. It's a 5-point game. A touchdown for Memphis gives them the lead, not a tie.
Lewis, long throw, caught by Cortez Graham Jr. So they try to get one more play off before the 2-minute timeout.
I don't think you need to rush in this situation. Take your time. You're not in a rush. Don't try to hurry up. You're not fighting the clock right now. Take your time. If you want to try and draw them off sides, you can. but I'd say take the 2-minute timeout.
Memphis with a 10-game home win streak. Had the best chance out of the American last week to make the CFP. Lost in upset fashion. Has a chance to upset South Florida with 2 minutes left. Back in Memphis, big 3rd and 3 looming for Brendan Lewis. Memphis' star quarterback who has willed them back into this game in the second half. An excellent second frame in front of a homecoming crowd here at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Team trailing by 5 to a top 20 South Florida team. Lewis under pressure delivers a completed pass. Cortez Bram Jr. for 18 and a first down.
They're attacking. Memphis is attacking exactly where the blitz is coming from. South Florida is bringing pressure over and over and over again. In all the second half, you see it. The corner blitz, and then boom, you just attack it. Great job by Bram getting out of bounds. Now is when you slow it all the way down. Take your time if you're Memphis. Still want to score, but not so fast.
4-man rush. Lewis takes off, makes one man miss inside the 10 and shoved out of bounds by Mac Harris.
I'm actually going to take that back. Just score, because last week they tried to take their time and run the clock out and score, and they messed up. They had a false start and another false start. So really, forget everything I just said. Ryan Silverfield needs to go get points in the end zone and then just trust that your defense can stop South Florida. Conversely, South Florida, maybe don't blitz as much. Keep eyes on the QB.
10th play of this drive. On the ground to Ozier. Stacked up. Schuler was in there, as was Jarvis Lee. Anyone going to use a timeout here?
No, neither team should use a timeout right now. Memphis should take their time, not get up on the line of scrimmage just yet, huddle up, figure out the play. And South Florida needs to bow up. We saw Memphis bow up versus Arkansas a couple weeks back. South Florida needs to do the same thing. I don't care what the second half has been. I don't care about stats or numbers. One play changes the game.
Lewis, end zone, it is caught. Inbounds, yes or no? Yes, it's a touchdown. Cortez Graham Jr. gives Memphis the lead.
Hey, that guy can play. That he can go. He had a one-handed catch in the end zone. It was a Sports Center top 10 type of play. And this throw, again, at the most important time, over Chenault, getting your feet in bounds. And now is when you definitely need to go for two if you're Memphis. And what do? Yes, mentality-wise, you're a running team. I would go back to Graham. I'd isolate him, and I would throw it up and get the ball to him. He's at the bottom of your screen.
In-man coverage, it appears. Looking that way across the formation. Lewis takes off. He is in for the conversion. 3-point game in Memphis.
Ruling on the field. The runner extended the ball across the goal line before touching the ground.
This is what experience does for you. There's no
That play
hesitation.
is under further review.
The strength we talked about. The savvy we talked about. Now let's talk about the ball. Ball's extended. Knee does not look down. That to me looks like a clear 2-point conversion for Brendan Lewis. Looks a little bit close when that knee is down. Knee is down. They called the 2-point conversion was called good. So what you're looking for at home is it has to be indisputable evidence that that ball did not cross the plane. That knee's down there. I don't know if that's indisputable. That's what you're looking for at home. That's what they're looking back at to see if it's indisputable that any part of that ball did not cross that front part of the end zone.
Isn't it fitting that the two biggest plays on that drive, the touchdown catch and the 2-point conversion, came by best friends? Cortez Graham, Brendan Lewis played last year together at Nevada. It was Graham's best season of his career. It was Lewis's best season of his career.
It'd be even better for Lewis if they confirmed that it was good. that second angle that we saw looks like the ball is in. Now the other angle, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, does that ball cross? In my estimation, I believe that the ball crossed that front part of the end zone. It crossed the plane before the knee was down. And since the officials called it a good 2-point conversion, they're looking for anything that is indisputable, clear and obvious. And from what I see, that's not clear enough for me to be overturned.
Long look at it by Mark Larson.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld. The 2-point conversion is good.
Memphis on a 17-0 run in this quarter. They trailed 31-17, and now it's up to Byram Brown again, trailing for the first time since it was 7-zip.
Cortez Graham finds the ball, high points the ball, and gets his feet in bounds. And then Brendan Lewis, who is fighting through an injured ankle, didn't play the second half of last week, showed his strength and his savvy and his skill to get the 2-point conversion. 3-point game for now one of the best quarterbacks in college football, Byron Brown,
who already orchestrated a field goal drive with 50 seconds left in the first half.
So this is nothing for them. This is an eternity for them.
With 3 timeouts.
Oh, it's longer than an eternity.
How do you play this with 3 timeouts and 67 seconds remaining if you're South Florida?
Well, so let's start here. South Florida was dominating the whole first half. They couldn't be stopped. And then the second half, finally, Memphis has turned it on. But Byron Brown has looked like a superhero all game long. He's made big-time plays in this game. They go fast. Let's see how fast that South Florida will go.
A deep breath from the starting quarterback. His first pass is caught by Moody Rubin. They will give him forward progress, gain of about 2 as the clock continues to turn.
So that tackle is going to force South Florida to use one of their timeouts.
South Florida takes their first charge timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
Well, here's our Week 8 Monday Night Football matchup. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders will be in Kansas City, squaring off against a resurgent Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, and of course the all-new ESPN app. Imagine if Byron Brown had all the targets that Patrick Mahomes has. They get them all back, and now they become even more dangerous. Certainly, this South Florida offense has been incredibly dangerous. 2 ranked wins in back-to-back games for the first time all year. That came earlier this season against Boise State and Florida. They've ripped off 4 wins in a row since their loss to Miami, and the offense has been the best in the nation. 2nd and 8. Brown with all day. Over the middle, incomplete, but a flag is down at midfield.
Holding. Defense number 13. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
.49 seconds left. 2 timeouts for South Florida. Trying to move to 4-0 in league play for just the 2nd time ever in program history.
And Memphis is a team that had won 10 straight games and lost last week to UAB. In the red zone, they just scored, and now their defense that has been trying to contain Brown is bringing pressure.
Here they come. Brown evading the blitz. Evades Sam Brumfield and turns the corner to make that a positive gain.
2nd or 3rd, or maybe even the 4th time we've seen Byron Brown use his legs to erase an angle. But at this point, it's 2nd and 4, but the clock starts to become a little bit of an issue. You're only playing for a field goal if you're South Florida. That means Memphis is trying to defend right around the 40-yard line. Those 2 timeouts for South Florida are critical. You can throw the ball anywhere you want on the field, or you can also run it with Byron Brown if nothing's open.
Their all-star field goal kicker, Nico Gramatica, has hit from 58. 2nd and 4. Pressure. Brown incomplete at midfield, looking for the freshman Christian Neptune. Guess who? Chris Bracey with the stop.
Chris Bracey has been all over the field all season long. He made a big play, and you see Gramatica getting ready. Memphis has to blitz. The reason why is that the only thing that has potentially slowed down Byron Brown is the blitz. Now, South Florida has to be ready for the blitz. The ball either has to come out quick, or Byron Brown has to make someone miss to try to get a first down.
They've converted 11 third downs in the game. Need 4 yards. Got all of that and much more to Keyshawn Singleton.
So they're hurrying up to the clock's going to stop. Going to get reset while the chains are getting reset.
And interesting to see South Florida use their 2nd timeout here.
Interesting.
South Florida takes their 2nd charge timeout at the half.
It's a good decision.
You don't want to rush. Timeout.
You don't want to rush too much. You want to make sure that everyone understands the situation. And here's the situation. South Florida needs about 3 yards to get a field goal that they'd be comfortable with. I'm sure they'd be comfortable with Gramatica from here if the game's on the line, but the game's not on the line just yet. The second situation is Memphis knows that they want to get South Florida going backwards. So that's why I think you blitz in a situation like this. Now, the third situation is that guy on your screen, number 17, Byron Brown. He's been one of the best players in college football all season long. So the ball has to stay in his hands, and Memphis has to know that he's going to be the one to try to make the play.
His 10 touchdowns in league play entering the day, most in the American Conference for a team that entered the day with the best chance to make the college football playoff out of the American Conference. Over 40% per ESPN analytics. Memphis trying to flip that 1 week after their upset loss on the road at UAB. 32 seconds left, 1 timeout for South Florida. Brown underneath, caught inside field goal territory by Singleton.
You got to hurry up to the line right now. You want to save that last timeout for your kicker.
Warp speed, blitz comes. Brown got rid of it, caught again by Singleton. And he's hammered down inside the 25.
Clock stops, it's going to get reset. I would spike it and then try to run one play.
5 catches for 70 yards for Keyshawn Singleton in this game.
So here's the situation. I've been saying field goal, field goal, field goal. Sure, field goal ties it. But right now you're at the 24-yard line. Take one shot to the end zone. Maybe it's to your true freshman number 16, Jeremiah Coger. Maybe it's to Singleton. Take one shot to the end zone, see if you can win it. And if not, kick the field goal. Memphis has to know that. So Memphis isn't protecting 2, 4, 5 yards. They should be protecting the end zone. They feel like the field goal would be good from here.
10 seconds to play. They bring delayed pressure. Brown rolls. Flag is down, and it's incomplete in the back of the end zone. This could very well be a hold on South Florida, and it will back them up 10 yards if so.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Gramatica time. So they brought pressure. You see the right guard, number 72, with the hold. That's Cole Best, excuse me, that's a center.
South Florida takes their third and final charge timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
So it's up to Nico Gramatica. His father, Martine, Super Bowl champion, NFL All-Pro. His uncle Bill, still with the longest field goal in South Florida history at 63 yards. Back when the Bulls were an FCS program in the late 90s. Nico himself has already etched his name into the South Florida record books with his first kick as a freshman last year, hit from 58. He's already 1 for 1 today from 46. This from 52.
Memphis takes their first charge timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
Interestingly, Alex Golish told us last night that they would prefer on 50-plus yard field goals to get Nico Gramatica the ball on the left hash. This will be from the right hash for the sophomore kicker.
Are you nervous, Shu?
I feel it in my guts. I got butterflies right now.
Me too.
My heart's beating a little bit, TD. I don't know why. Maybe that's why I'm not a kicker. Nico looks as cool as can be. I feel.
A reminder coming up at the top of the hour right here on ESPN2, Cincinnati in Baylor. Homecoming at Nippert Stadium. But first, a 52-yarder by Nico Gramatica to tie the game and send us to OT. Snap down, kick away. It is no good! Lewis with the stunner. The Tigers scored 17 unanswered to hand South Florida its first conference loss. Whoa!
We talked about in the beginning of the show how this felt like it could be a playoff game. The snap was low. We'll start there. There's a low snap. And Nico Gramatica kicks it wide. Remember, South Florida had an opportunity to kick a field goal in the fourth quarter from inside the 10-yard line. They declined. And now all of a sudden, the opportunity for a college football playoff spot is looking clear as day for Memphis.
A program that just a week ago went from having the best chance in this conference to make the CFP to not even being on the board. Taylor Davis, they found a way this afternoon to knock off number 18.
They sure did, Matt. I'm with Coach Silverfield right now. Coach, a lot of emotion on your face right now. Walk me through it.
Yeah, you think about the adversity we had last week, but this program is built on love and grit and hard work and dedication. And these guys are all in, and that's all I could ever ask. They kept fighting, believing. You know, at the halftime locker room, nobody had a doubt in their mind that we'd come back and win this football game.
Speaking of grit, 17 unanswered points to get back in it. You take the lead with a minute left. What kind of character display did you see from your team?
Well, that's what the Memphis Tigers are all about. They're strong-minded young men that believe, they continue to do things the right way, and I couldn't be more proud to be their head coach.
Last week was a gut check for you guys, an unexpected loss. You come in here against a very good South Florida team and get a huge win in the American. What do you want your team to take away from this victory?
Continue to learn, right? We're certainly not good enough by any stretch of the imagination, but found a way to win a football game when it's all said and done. Continue to believe, continue to be all in, and let's find a way to go 1-0 next week as well.
Everything's still ahead of you, Coach. Go enjoy it with your team.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. Go Tigers.
Taylor, this had the feeling of a college football playoff type of game. Two one-loss teams coming in, both with CFP chances. Sam Memphis scores the final 17 points of the game to knock off a top 20 USF.
Opportunities like these don't come all the time. So for Memphis to find a way to win after a loss last week, South Florida is going to have to try to find a way to rebound. This is what college football is all about.
Unbelievable homecoming finish for the Memphis Tigers. For Sam Acho and our entire crew, Matt Schumacher saying so long from Memphis.